Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Deku was the target of an assassin part 1. If you guys enjoy this what if and want to see part 2, comment down below and let me know before I start. Please do support for more awesome content and leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also share this video with your friends and check out the description in my playlist. The author of the story 𝗵𝗃 2020 from WhatIf. So let's start the video. Third POV. 13 and 𝗳𝗲𝗄𝗃 looked at the purple mist in surprise for only a moment before they sprinted into action. 13 protect the students, 𝗳𝗲𝗄𝗃 said, pulling his goggles over his eyes as the villains stepped out of the mist. Erase her head, Izuku yelled, running forward. What are you doing? You work better in one-on-one fights and stealth missions. Fighting a crowd is suicide. Midoriya, 𝗳𝗲𝗄𝗃 said, looking at the greenite. You should know, any hero worth their salt isn't a one-trick pony. 𝗳𝗲𝗄𝗃 jumped into the middle of the crowd and started to absolutely demolish the villains. Midoriya, 13 yelled. Stick with the group. Alright, he yelled, running back to the group. 𝗵𝗃𝗃, try calling the school or any other responding line. Sure, 𝗵𝗃𝗃 said, holding a hand to his earpiece. Iida, Izuku said. You're the fastest. You need to get out of here and get help. Yes, Midoriya, Iida said, and started to run before black mist blocked the way. I'm afraid I can't let you do that, the mist man said. Now who is the one All Might favors? If you come forward, your death will be quite painless. A shiver ran down Izuku's spine as the man said that. No one, the mist man asked. Die, Tatsuki yelled, rushing forward and firing an explosion from his palms. The warp villain made a portal and the explosion disappeared harmlessly through it. Oh, dangerous, the man said. I wouldn't expect anything else from the golden eggs of the hero academies though. Now, a dark mist soared above everyone. Scatter. Die as painfully as possible. When the dark mist disappeared, only 8 people were standing there. Izuku POV. Ah. I scream as I fall into the dangerously cold blizzard zone. Miraculously, evergreen branches and a snow drift break my fall enough to leave only a small bruise on my back. Ugh. I groan. I pull myself out of the pile of snow. That hurt. I rub my annoyingly painful shoulder as I look around. Ditch the 𝗵𝗃𝗃 zone. I cursed under my breath as the snow made it nearly impossible to see. Midoriya, Izuku. I feel death itself behind me. Jumping forward, I barely dodge a fatal injury, gaining a gash on my arm. I gasp in pain as the icy air invades the cut, making it sting even more. Turning, I see a girl about my age holding a pure white dado with a black 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗃. 5'7". Strength speed. Her sword type suggests that she prefers a piercing style but will settle for slashing either way. She hasn't used her quirk, so that's a major unknown, but I'm guessing it helps with her sword dash. I duck under a slash of her dado before rolling to the side as a viscous downward stab nearly skewered me. Quirk mind's obsession, she said. It allows you to process and comprehend everything so fast it nearly puts Nizu to shame. But in the entrance exams showed that he also had a strength quirk relatable to All Might himself. She knows so much about me. I ask myself, jumping back as another strike nearly cleaved my head off. Why, you seem to know quite a bit about me, I say. Care to extend that courtesy to me? She scoffed and looked at me. Her piercing white eyes matched her hair as she stared at me. My name is Tatsuki Seraph. I'm here to kill you, Midoriya. She swung her blade to the side and instantly her sword had what looked like 2 extra outlines. She ran forward and sliced at me with her sword. I jump to the side and avoid the blade, but I still feel a small nick cut my cheek. Feet at 8 and 2 o'clock. My mind quickly tells me. I know. I shoot back just as fast. Her quirk seems to be able to A. Extend her sword's striking range. B. Make an ultraviolet or infrared ethereal blade extend her reach by a small amount. C. She can bend reality to a certain distance. I already figured that out. I mumble to myself. Figured what out? She seemed curious. Talking to myself. I tell her. Sorry, bad habit of mine. She studied me for a second. I duck as I feel a small feeling of death. I blanch as I see some strands of my hair fall. 8 feet 4.5 inches. A and B are definitely out. I say, plucking one of the strands out of the air. Guess I know what your quirk is now. You figured out my quirk? She asked, worried. You can manipulate reality up to 8.5 feet. I say. She freezes and looks at me before smiling. That quirk of yours is no joke, huh? She asked. The name of my quirk is glitch. As long as I have my eyes open, I can manipulate anything within a certain distance. I can rip even atoms apart if I touch them. She's giving me everything. I ask myself. No. She's leaving something critical out. There's a limit. I'm guessing it has 𝗧. I jump backwards, dodging the blade, yet still getting a large cut across my chest due to me not paying attention. How will the poor little hero get out of this? Tatsuki mocked. She slowly walked towards me, her hips swaying as she did so. She raises her sword up. Geez, though All Might's disciple might have given me a better fight. She's acting confident. Her eyes are looking droopy. Does she get tired while using her quirk? I am sorry about this, she said as she lowered her blade towards my face. She looked away as she did so. Do it now, idiot. I yell at myself. Moving my head to the side, I just barely avoid her blade before placing my hands on the ground over my head and kicking her in the face full force, being sure to jump back as far as I could. Damn it! She screamed, grabbing her now bloody nose. Hit me. She looked at the crimson that covered her snow-white clothes. And I'm bleeding. She's never been hurt before. She's never fought me before. She turned towards me and looked back at her blood-covered hands. Pressure started to build on my shoulders as she started to shake. Her eyes turned blood red as she looked at me. Run. Agreed. I think to myself, running in the opposite direction. Got to get out of here. Oh, Izuku. She yelled, slowly swinging her sword. I jumped over the bisecting cut and continued to run. I want to play a little more Izuku. She goes insane when she sees her own blood. Her new reach when she's angry is 8 feet past what she's touching. God damn it, I know that. I almost cry from happiness when I see the center of the USJ. I finally get out of the cold as I race forward, dodging all of the unreadable attacks coming from Tatsuki, who was still swinging haphazardly. After a few more minutes of running, I finally get out of the blizzard area with multiple gashes that would surely have scars after this is done. Izuku. She called out again. Run, run, run. I tell myself as another gash appeared on my shoulder, dangerously close to my throat. I trip on an off-centered rock and roll forward, luckily dodging a wave of glitch that would have surely killed me. You're not making this hunt very fun, Izuku. She pouted. Come on, stop running. You'll kill me. I rebuke. That's the point. She charged forward and swiped with her sword. Midoriya. Deku. I look to my right and see Kirishima and Kaken there, wide-eyed. Run. I yell, turning around and facing her. She stopped and smiled. Ah. She cooed. Is the itty-bitty hero scared? Fairly. I admit. Stop talking and run. I need to make sure those two can escape. She frowned for a second before smiling and turning towards where Eraserhead was fighting the man covered in hands. He's terrified right now, she said, looking back to me. He's terrified, yet he's still fighting for you. It's so disgusting. It makes me sick seeing people pretend to care. I was starting to feel dizzy from blood loss. I hear before an explosion ripped through the air where Tatsuki was. I feel a pair of arms softly grab under my shoulders. You okay, Midobro? Kirishima asked as he set me on his back. Get to Aizawa-sensei. I say. He needs to know that thing's weakness. Right? But you're hurt. Just go. I say. That girl isn't going to be taken out by any of Kaken explosions. She's probably just confused. Izuku. She called. Quick to Aizawa. I say, and Kirishima nods. Third POV. I Eraserhead. Shigaraki said. You know you're one of my favorite heroes. Aizawa ran forward while using his quirk on the man. I can't do this much longer. You're always so brutal. Shigaraki said. The two of them exchanged blows and Shigaraki was able to grab his elbow. 12. He said, and Izuku's elbow started to crumble away. Your quirk is very predictable. Izuku kicked him in the chest, sending them both away from each other. Muscle and bone showed on Izuku's elbow. Izuku-sensei. They both heard. Turning their heads, they saw Kirishima running while holding a severely bleeding Izuku on his back, who looked just about ready to pass out. Get out of here! Izuku yelled at them. Izuku jumped painfully off of his back and started to run alongside Kirishima. Izuku-sensei. He yelled. He's not someone you can fight. He's right, you know. Shigaraki said. And I'm not even the final boss. Get down. He heard Izuku yell. Following his student's instruction, he barely avoided a deadly blow to the head from the terrifying monster. This is my genetically engineered 𝗵𝗃. Shigaraki bragged. He has super regeneration and shock absorption. Now tell me who All Might favors. Sorry. Izuku grunted, jumping back. When you teach, as long as I have all of them start looking the same. Izuku. A deathly sing-song voice echoed through. Where are you? What? Izuku thought, looking at the terrified Izuku. Is that the person who did this to him? Damn it. Shigaraki mumbled. Are berserkers going mad? What did Sensei say to do when this happened? Tatsuki sprung into view, sword in hand, covered in Izuku's 𝗵𝗃𝗍. I found you, Izuku. She said, swinging her sword at Izuku, who had no time to dodge. Ah, that's right. Shigaraki said. 𝗵𝗃, kill her. The 𝗵𝗃 disappeared from sight for a second before grabbing the girl by the throat. What? Izuku said, surprised, as Tatsuki struggled in its grip. Her sword dropped to the floor. Time slowed down for Izuku. How do I save her? He asked himself. You actually want to save her after all she's done to us? Of course. Fine. The sword that's dropping looks sharp enough to pierce through the 𝗵𝗃 as long as you use one for all while you do. The 𝗵𝗃 has regeneration and shock absorption, so I shouldn't be hurt by it as long as we get a direct hit. I run forward as Tatsuki struggled and grabbed her sword before it touches the floor. I turn and power one for all into my arms and stab the sword forward. The blade pierces easily, slicing through the 𝗵𝗃 like butter, and Izuku felt no pain like he had when he broke his arms using one for all. Aragaga! The 𝗵𝗃 screeched, throwing Tatsuki into me, sending us both back 100 feet. He grabs onto her stomach as they fly, and he makes sure the impact hits him more than her. Izuku feels pain like no other when the two of them hit the floor. Stars are mostly all he saw as well. What happened? He heard to his left. Tatsuki looked to her right when she saw Izuku the condition he was in. Did I do that to you? She asked fearfully. Memories of him saving her surfaced instantly. See, can we not fight anymore? Izuku asked. I can't feel my anything. She cursed lowly as she saw 𝗵𝗃𝗍 pool out of him. He didn't deserve this. He had just saved her life. Hold still. She said, walking over. He chuckled but didn't move. This is going to hurt. She placed her bare hand onto his now exposed chest. Izuku screamed as the wounds dealt to him stitched themselves back together. He screamed again before he, to her relief, finally passed out. The wounds finally all closed, leaving thick white scars everywhere on his body. She felt his neck and sighed in relief when she felt a faint but steady pulse. Midoriya! Izuku screamed as Izuku and the white-haired villain he had saved from dying were thrown hundreds of feet away. Pay attention. Shigaraki said, rushing forward only to be met in the chest with a kick. They both hear. It seems she still wants to kill the kid even after he saved her. Shigaraki said. Another scream makes Izuku's 𝗵𝗃𝗍 go cold as he looks into its direction. He feels light for only a second before he's slammed into the ground hard enough to crater the cement floor. Izuku-sensei. Kirishima said. Run, Kirishima. Izuku yelled. He spat out a glob of 𝗵𝗃𝗍 as the newly healed 𝗵𝗃 pushed down on his back. I think killing a few kids will bring All Might out, right? Shigaraki asked, looking at Kirishima. He shot forward faster than most could see and placed all 5 of his fingers on a hardened Kirishima. But nothing happened. Sorry. Izuku said. But someone has to be the responsible adult here. His face was bloody. Isn't it funny? He asked. How a bunch of kids work better than us adults. I wonder where they got it from. And when did we lose it? The Nomu slammed his head into the ground and a small pool of BLD formed around his head. Kirishima quickly punched Shigaraki in the face before his quirk could reactivate and kill him. Get off of me! He yelled. Oh, how the mighty have fallen! Shigaraki said, holding his cheek softly as he stared at Izuku. He turned back to Kirishima and smiled. He took a single step before the door to the USJ exploded. Fear not. The blond man said, taking a step forward. I am here. It was All Might. And he wasn't smiling. I hear you like picking on students to get attention. He said, taking a step down. Well, congratulations. You have mine. Tatsuki POV. I watched as All Might fought the thing that had tried to kill me. On my shoulder was an unconscious Izuku Midoriya as I tried to carry him to one of the other students, so none of the other villains got any ideas. Hey you! I hear a steady voice from behind me say. Turning around, I see a dual-haired kid with red hair on his left side and white hair on the other. Why are you carrying him? Planning on taking him to your leader. Look here, Shoto Todoroki. I say, remembering his file. This 𝗵𝗃 kid saved me from the black monster, so I have debt to pay off. Help me or get out of my way. He looked at me curiously before going to Midoriya's other arm and helped me carry him towards the entrance. Why are you attacking us? Todoroki asked. I hope you know I'm not affiliating myself with them anymore. I scoff. Assholes planned on killing me. But if you must know, they're here to kill All Might and the one he favors. I say. And it's Midoriya. He asked. No. I lied. It's the explosion kid Bakugo. He said. The two of us reached the stairs to the building. Thanks. I say, getting out from under Midoriya's shoulder. I can't let you go. Todoroki said as ice enveloped my body. Like you could stop me. I scoff and activate glitch. I feel myself fuzzing in and out of existence as I willed the ice around me to be pushed around the caster. What? He asked curiously, not bothered by being coated in ice. Goodbye. I say, walking towards the center of the USJ where All Might was standing still in front of the villains. Was he already at hit time limit? I quickly run, catching the attention of the villains. Tatsuki. Shigaraki said happily. We've got our berserker back in action. Kill All Might. I slowly grab my blade and look at my two options. It's an easy choice. I sprint forward and deliver a fierce, piercing strike to his stomach. He moves to the side, but the blade still pierces though his side and slices through. Why you beach? Shigaraki yelled as he held his bleeding stomach. 𝗬𝗄𝗫. Yes, young MSTR. 𝗬𝗄𝗫 said before enveloping the two of them in a mist before disappearing. I take a shaky breath as the two of them disappeared. Young lady. All Might said calmly. Please surrender quietly. I sigh and look at All Might. No. I say as I look at him. You believe in peace throughout the world, All Might. I also believe in that. A student of yours, Izuku Midoriya, saved me from that monster you defeated. Before that I delivered a series of fatal blows. I looked at him wondering how he could be so pure. He made me see my goal more clearly. So I used my quirk and saved him. I'm not safe around anyone with my quirk, and represents don't work. And everyone who knows about it either uses me or hates me. I use my sword and slash through the air. A small white portal shimmered into existence. I can't wait to see which your successor turns out to be. I stepped through the portal and snapped my fingers, closing it. I smile as I look at the familiar surrounding of my bedroom. All Might sighed as he saw the portal close. That girl saved me because of Izuku. He smiled. There might still be hope for her. The teachers arrived and everyone was taken out to be looked at. Midoriya was in bad condition. She had indeed left many fatal wounds on the boy, but it seemed she had personally made the tissue scar over so he would have a chance to live. What happened to him? A medic asked Todoroki and Kirishima. There was this one villain. She was part of the main force. Kirishima said. She had this weird quirk that allowed her to extend the reach of her sword and also make her faster. Well, he has 11 fresh scars that seem to have been forced together to heal. The doctor said as she used her quirk on him. And for some reason none of his muscles have been stressed. Is he going to be okay? Todoroki asked. He should be fine after a few visits to Recovery Girl. She said, but I would like to have a few more checkups to see how he's faring. She pulled out a little card and handed it to Todoroki. Please give this to Midoriya when he wakes up. I'm needed in the EMT for your teachers. Thank you, Ms. Oh, I'm Anna. I'm Recovery Girl's apprentice. Right. Todoroki said. Thank you, Ms. Anna. When the doctor left, he looked at the admittedly small Midoriya beside him. Todoroki could only think one thing. What is so important about you, Midoriya? Izuku POV. I looked down at the black sword in Aizawa-sensei's hands. What? Is the only thing I'm able to eat out of my mouth. It looked almost just like Tatsuki's sword, except black and the end was straight rather than curved. Nizu wants you to learn how to use this. Aizawa said, because that girl seems to be gunning for you. She also knows about All Might's time limit yet saved him. Midoriya. He sighed. In the name of the pro-heroes All Might and Eraserhead, if you ever encounter this girl again, you are allowed to fight only if necessary. Otherwise. He sighed again, rubbing his head. Both Nizu and All Might seem to think that you can convince her to join a new thing that Nizu just instituted. Villain rehabilitation. She'll go to the same classes as you and you'll be in charge of her actions. She'll graduate and even be allowed to be a hero if her behavior is good enough. Are you willing to take on this responsibility, problem child? I look at him. Do I want to shut up and accept already? Aizawa-sensei. I say. I grab the hilt of the sword. Yes. I'll do it. I'll bring her to our side. And that's a promise. I smiled determined. Aizawa let go of the blade and instantly I felt 20 pounds being dropped onto one hand quickly. The tip of the blade almost touches the ground. That sword is specifically made to keep you mostly out of her range. And with your quirk I doubt that it'll take you too long to learn how to use it. Thank you, Aizawa-sensei. I say. Don't thank me, Midoriya. He said. I personally voted on her being thrown into the deepest pit of Tartarus they could find. Oh. The only reason she won is because she saved you. Wait, she saved me? I ask in surprise. When? You don't remember? Aizawa asked. I set the point of the sword down and try and think. I think she might have. I say. I can remember getting hit by the Nomu though. I shuddered remembering the pain. Is that why I have so many scars all over? Yes. Aizawa said. Recovery Girl even said that she probably wouldn't have been able to save you. The girl's lucky. Right. I say. And isn't the sword dangerous without a scabbard? Right here. Aizawa said, tossing me a black scabbard, along with a tube-like bag. Under no circumstance are you allowed to use this as a toy. It'll be quickly taken from you. Understood? Why, yes, Aizawa-sensei. I say, sheathing the blade and setting it in the bag. Good. He said. Now get to your seat before everyone starts piling in. The others asked questions about what was in the bag, but a glance from Aizawa was enough to keep me quiet. It's just a package I have 𝗳𝗂𝗃 keep by me for a while. I say, holding it closer to myself. Everyone stop crowding Midoriya. Kirishima said, shoving Mineta back into his seat. He's nervous enough as it is. Thanks, Kirishima. I say, sitting back down in my seat as Aizawa started class. Listen, all of you. Aizawa said. I know we've only just been invaded, but it's not over yet. Are we going to be attacked again? I ask myself. Of course not, idiot. Not after just getting attacked. We are going to participate in the annual sports festival. He said, causing everyone to sigh in relief. Third POV. Tatsuki grunted as her shoulder pinged in pain. Damn it. She grunted as blood spilled out of the bandage. She glared harshly at the hospital that she just robbed supplies from. The moon shined brightly on the falling blood. It turned out getting thrown through buildings hurt. Kill them all. The voice in her mind demanded. F off. Tatsuki said. Who knew 𝗳𝗵𝗃 was volunteering at the hospital? Damn it. I think she went over in that direction. She heard the same man say, pointing her way. 𝗬𝗵𝗃. She thought before pulling on the ever-insane feeling on the edge of her mind. Like I practiced. I will the light to refract around me, making me indistinguishable from my surroundings. I need to get out of here. She thought to herself as she ran down the street. Away from the heroes. Away. She ran continuously, not noticing the green-haired boy until it was too late to get out of the way. They both yelled as they fell to the hard, unforgiving ground. What hit me? The green-haired boy asked, sitting up. It was Izuku Midoriya. He was holding groceries in his left hand as he blinked and looked straight at her. When she had fell, she lost control of her quirk, and the refracted light stopped bending around her, making her once again visible. Tatsuki, he said, surprised, standing back up. No, it's Jesus, but Tatsuki said, standing up and grabbing her blade. I don't want to fight, he said, raising his hands. She gone, a distant voice said in a yell. Tatsuki's eyes widened in fear. Grabbing Izuku, she threw him into a nearby alleyway and covered his mouth. Just go away. Izuku POV. I yell as I'm toppled over on the sidewalk. My groceries were nearly dumped onto the ground as well. What hit me? I wonder out loud before opening my eyes. The snow-white hair fills my vision. Tatsuki. No, it's Jesus, but Tatsuki says, grabbing her sword. Run. No, I don't want to fight. I say, raising my hands in surrender. I don't have my phone either. I'm at her complete mercy. She grabbed me and shoved me into the closest alleyway and covered my mouth. Don't talk, she said after a second. I nod softly and she lowers her hand. She hisses and the bandage on her shoulders started to bleed through more than it had previously been. It's infected. The dumb butt. My quirk say sarcastically. Just tell me what to do. Hey, I say, walking forward. Instantly a sword was on my throat. Don't, she said threateningly. My gaze hardens and I grab the blade of the sword and move it to the side and walk forward. Here Ludash, I was pushed back by her foot into the alleyway wall. Are you that stupid? She asked. I can do this myself. Obviously not. I say. Now move the sword so I can help you. She hesitates for some reason before allowing her blade to fall to the ground. Fine. She spits out harshly. Slowly I walk forward and kneel on the ground beside her, examining her shoulder. What could have done this? I ask myself. Death arms threw me through a building. She answers, seemingly knowing what I was thinking. He's been chasing me for about an hour since. Well, it's infected. I tell her as pus starts to slowly stream out of the now open wound. You should put an antiviral agent on it after you get wherever you're going. Thank you, doctor, she said sarcastically. Can you just wrap it now? Her breathing was laboured and short. She's in a lot of pain. I think to myself, I have to clear all of the debris out of the wound, Tatsuki. I say hesitantly. Just do it already, she said dangerously. Okay, I say, grabbing a good-sized piece of wood with my fingers. Grit your teeth. She does, and with a quick jolt the piece is out of her shoulder. 2 left, I say before pulling out a huge splinter of wood. She cries. Jay, just hold on a little more, I say, grabbing the final large piece of wood, irritating her wound. I yank it out quickly and throw the last BLD-covered stick onto the ground. I grab a piece of gauze out of her hand. I see dash. Just let me help you, I say, leaving no room for argument. I firmly set the gauze around the wound, hearing her hiss a curse or two. Anything to hold it on. She raised her hand to it and miraculously the bandage fused itself together. Okay, I say. You should find a hospital if you can. Or at least change your bandages every once in a while. She stood up and continued down the alley. Wait a second, I say loudly. What is it, Midoriya? Thank you, I blurt out. For healing me at the USJ. Recovery girl said I probably would have died if it wasn't for you. We were even, she said. You saved me from that monster. But it seems I'm in your debt again. She continued to walk down the alley. Why, you know about All Might. I stutter out. About his limit. She stopped. I do. He wanted me to thank you. I said. Because without you he might have. The words couldn't leave my mouth. Trust me, I didn't do it for All Might. She said. The world will need a hero soon. One like All Might. I don't wish for there to be a void that could get innocents hurt. Why did you help attack our class? I asked. Her fingers twitched on her hilt. Goodbye for now, Midoriya. She said, walking through the alley. I stood alone with BLD covering my hands. In a dark alley. I look like I murdered someone. I think to myself. Third POV. Tatsuki stared at the swordsman in front of her. He wore red and white rags over his eyes and arms. Nearly 20 blades were covering his body. Hi, Stain. She said, bored as she sat on the edge of her bed. She neatly tucked her sword under her bed frame wrapped tightly in white cloth. Hello. He said. The silence the two shared became a natural thing between the two. How is your beard? He's fine. She said, harshly interrupting him. He's fine. Tatsuki. Stain said. Your brother needs help. You don't know what my brother needs. She yelled. He's a knock knock knock. Come in. I say as Stain disappears through the window. Sissy. A small innocent voice asked, walking into the dark room. Hey Haka. She said as the 5-year-old walked into the room. Who are you talking to? Myself, Haka. Sit down. She patted the bed beside her. Haka walked over slowly and climbed up clumsily onto her bed. Where were you, Tat? Just be buying your medicine, Haka. She lied, pulling out a bottle of desmopressin. For your bleeding. Oh, he said. She pulled out a small blue pill. Say a Haka. She said, and he giggled, opening his mouth. She placed the blue pill on his tongue and he swallows it without complaint. Now get to bed, Haka. You need to wake up for school in the morning. But Tat. He whined, hugging my arm. Haka. I warn. Don't make me ground you. He scoffed adorably, hopping off of my bed. Night, Haka. I call as he closes the door. Can you please just leave Stain? She asked. Tomorrow you're going on a watch with me. She scoffed. Why the hell would I do that? Because I was offered to join the League of Villains today. He said, and her BLD ran cold. They know we know each other. So? She asked carefully. So you can patrol with me so you don't get ambushed or anything like that. He said, looking to the side. Right. She drawled out before sighing, realizing he was right. Fine. Izuku POV. I stood on the podium in front of all of you, and most of their parents. I fiddled with the edge of my sword's bag. Hey. I say into the microphone. Like we practiced. Just act like Kakin. I sigh. I just want to let you all know. I'm going to win. The crowd looked at me in surprise as if they were expecting something different than that. Boo! The crowd yelled out. But, I say, cutting them off. If you want to prove me wrong, try your hardest. I glare at Todoroki. I refuse to lose to anyone who doesn't give it your all. That's why we're part of you. To go beyond. I shot my hand in the air. Plus Ultra. The crowd was silent for a second. Plus Ultra. The crowd roared back. I walked off of the podium back to the entrance with my class. What an inspiring speech. Midnight yelled to the crowd. And following said speech is our first event. An obstacle course. Third POV. Tatsuki sat in the crowd silently watching the festival. Izuku ran ahead of most of the competition, only behind the two she recognized as Bakugo and Todoroki. But when he reached the mine field, he stopped. The black tube-like bag swung lightly on his back. What's he doing? She mumbled as she watched him dig with a sheet of metal he had taken from a robot. He piled more than 15 mines by the... Maybe not him. Iida chuckled softly and let himself out of the hug. You really know how to cheer someone up, Midoriya. Iida said. Thank you. It's no problem. I said with a smile. We're friends, Iida. You can rely on me for anything. He's going to try and get revenge. We have to stop him. All right, he said before the door opened and 𝗬𝗂-sensei walked in. Midoriya, he asked. I thought you were supposed to go for your. He glanced at Ida for a second. Appointment. All right, it was cancelled for the next 2 days for me to rehabilitate. I explain. He said my arms weren't in good enough shape. Oh okay, 𝗬𝗂-sensei said. Well, today you are all going to be picking your internships, so sit down. Third POV. Stain, are you sure about this? Tatsuki asked as the two of them jumped from building to building. Just make sure you don't get caught in any of the crossfire. Stain said. I'm not here to kill this hero. He's younger than most. I'm just gonna give him a few scars. See if he can get his act together. And that's all. She asked wearily. Stain said. Now we're coming up to the alleyway. Izuku POV. I looked at the two people with a frown. Are you okay, sir? I asked the one who slipped on a pile of sausages and ketchup. Fine. He grunted, standing up. The old man looked at me with interest. Who is this again, girlie? He asked the slender women beside him. This is Midoriya Gran Torino, she said exasperatedly. He responded to our recommendation. Toshinori. Yes, sir, I'm here for your internship offer. I say, fiddling with the metal case and sword. Don't worry about him, the lady said, walking forward and holding out her hand. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃, or you might recognize my hero name. Why, you're the sword princess. I yell in excitement. No way. I've always loved the way you work. You're the number 11 hero and you've only just started last year. Why thank you, young man, she said with a smile. The old coot here is Gran Torino. Yeah, All Might's teacher, right? I asked and she nodded. Well, homeroom teacher, she said. But he also mentored All Might for a while as well. You youngins shouldn't talk about people like they're not there. Gran Torino yelled. Sorry, sir, I say, bowing to him. Don't bow to me, kid. He snapped, kicking my shins. I mutter as pain flooded my legs. Hey, we're here to train the kid, not bully him, 𝗵𝗃𝗃 said. Torino said. How will he expect to get out of danger if he can't avoid one of my kicks? Sorry, I say, getting back up. You should be, kid, Torino said. Go get changed into your costume. Come out ready to fight. I nod. Yes, sir, I say, running to his bathroom and changing. This was going to be a hard internship. I jump out of the way as 𝗵𝗃𝗃's blade soared down and nearly sliced my face open. It did, however, slice of a small tuft of hair. Torino said, aiming a speeding kick at my chest. Instead of ducking, I power one for all at 5% and jumped to the ceiling before kicking off of the ceiling at 𝗵𝗃𝗃, blade raised. I quickly found myself face down, sword at my throat. She chided. Too slow. Try again. I groan and stand up before going to my blade. Picking it up, I see how even after landing on the ground multiple times the blade was still reflective. I saw 𝗵𝗃𝗃 giving me a smile and Torino looking annoyed. You have a very appealing blade, Midoriya, she complimented. Thanks, I say. I honestly don't know who made it. You should ask whoever gave it to you, she said. The maker should be thanked. I will. I hold the blade up, copying 𝗵𝗃𝗃's stance. Your sword's off, she said. Tilt it just slightly to the right. Right there, perfect, she said as I corrected my stance. And scoot your left foot forwards just a. Yeah, good. Everything paused for only a few seconds before she said the word. Third POV. Tatsuki looked at Stain in disgust as he liked the man's BLD. That's disgusting, she said as Stain walked into their hideout. It's my quirk, he reasoned. Get over it. Besides, get ready for your patrol. I'll be doing something else. Fine, she said. I need to pick up some supplies from a friend anyway. Tatsuki knocked on the large black metal door. What's the password? Was called out of the building. Get out here before I shove my sword up your butt, 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗃, she yelled, banging on the door. Not the password. But I guess I can let you in, Tatsuki. The door swung open and a middle-aged man wearing a pair of goggles and holding a welder. He gave her a small look. Judging by your face, you want something, don't you? I need some money, 𝗧𝗵𝗃, she admitted. I'm fing deep in the red. He sighed before shaking his head and smiling. Come on in, kid, he said, opening his workshop. Tatsuki walked in and sat in a chair around the dining table. What have you been up to? 𝗧𝗵𝗃 asked, going over to his safe. Nothing much, she lied. Just patrolling. So you didn't rob that hospital? He asked, opening the safe and pulling out a large wad of hundreds. That, Tatsuki said. 𝗃𝗲 needed the medicine and he refused to sell to me since I'm technically a minor. You could have asked me, 𝗧𝗵𝗃 said. I'd have helped me out, blah blah blah, Tatsuki said offhandedly. Yeah, I know. He smiled softly before handing her the large bundle of cash. I hope you do, Tatsu. Don't call me that, 𝗧𝗵𝗃, Tatsuki said, annoyed. You know I hate that name. And be sure to actually watch 𝗃𝗃 this time. 𝗧𝗵𝗃 just smirked. Tatsuki looked down from the top of the building. Glitch was still pulling at the back of her mind. Man, she said, bored, sitting back. Why does 𝗳𝗃 have to be so boring? We might be able to lighten it up. A familiar voice said behind her. She drew her sword and turned, slashing down at the purple mist. Oh ho! The warp villain said. Just as feisty as ever, Tatsuki. What do you want, 𝗬𝗄𝗫? She yelled, holding her sword. A little chat. Another person said. Get out of here, you two, she said to the decay villain. We just need to talk. Shigaraki said mockingly. You're quite lucky sensei wants you to be brought alive. Our white mage was barely able to heal my stomach. Too bad, she said. I thought you looked good on the ground, bleeding out like a little beach. Shigaraki growled at her, but 𝗬𝗄𝗫 stepped forward. Our MSTR told us to tell you that your brother might have complications if you do not come with us. She froze, her blood running cold. I have no idea what you're talking about, she said, gripping her sword tighter. I believe you do know what I said, 𝗬𝗄𝗫 said in a calming manner. A portal opened up in front of the two of us. Tatsuki, 𝗃𝗃 yelled from the other side of the molded cell. Beside him, 𝗧𝗵𝗃 was laying on the ground, unconscious, gashes and bruises everywhere. It looked like his eye was cut out as well. 𝗃𝗃, she yelled. Let them go, you son of a bitch. Ah! 𝗬𝗄𝗫 chided. You just have to listen to our MSTR for a few minutes and then you're all free to go. She growled as she looked at them. Shigaraki had a huge grin on his face. The portal darkened before showing a damp basement where a single television lied. Walking through the portal against her better judgment, she heard a voice from the TV, Miss Seraph. All for one said, looking at her through the screen. It's nice to see you in good health. Let the two of them go. He stopped and took a deep breath. No Fing Wei, she thought as she clenched her hands. Her, now blue, hair flapped through the wind. The explosion shook the course as Izuku jumped, metal sheet first, onto the mines. Holy, Mike announced. What caused such a large explosion? Is that Midoriya? Eraserhead, what are you teaching your students? I'm not teaching them this, Aizawa said. They've all been adapting and learning in their own ways. Especially Midoriya. I've only helped guide them to the best way for them to learn. You heard it, guys, Mike said. Eraserhead's a terrible teacher. Midoriya soared through the air as they talked. He was about to hit the ground. Tatsuki could see the grin he had adorning his face. A small smile settled on her own face. He acts kinda like 𝗃𝗃, she thought to herself. Always nervous yet sticks to what he says. And Midoriya is in the lead, Mike announced. He's completely covered the minefield in seconds. And it was true. Izuku had definitely cleared the minefield. And the next 50 feet as well. He hit the ground in a seemingly well-practiced combat roll, speeding up his run considerably. And Midoriya Izuku crosses the finish line in first place. Mike screamed. In second is Todoroki. And third is Bakugo. Those three. Tatsuki looked over at them. They're intriguing. Damn it. Bakugo yelled. You were supposed to get second while I got first. Sorry, 𝗂𝗃𝗃. Izuku said, rubbing the back of his head sheepishly. Got a bit too into it, I guess. Damn it. Don't apologize. he said, setting his hand on his neck. Just said it myself. Is he bipolar? Tatsuki asked herself. No, it's him actually trying to be nice. This isn't going to be that easy, Tatsuki said as Izuku stood in front of Todoroki. It was the semi-finals. Midoriya could actually win. Start. Midnight yelled. Todoroki. Izuku said. Are you going to use your fire? Shut up, Midoriya. Todoroki said. I'm not using that BSTRDS quirk. Izuku clenched his fist and looked at the bi-haired teen. Fine. Izuku said. He set his tube-like bag on the ground right out of the ring, being careful not to touch the actual ground. What's in the bag? Todoroki asked. None of your concern. Izuku said harshly. So question. He turned back to Todoroki. Do you see us as less than you? What? Todoroki asked, confused. No, I believe we all got into you. For a reason. So why are you half-butting it? He asked angrily. Everyone's given it their all. If you don't, then you don't deserve to be here. How dare you? Todoroki yelled. I worked hard to get here. Really? Izuku mocked. With such a miraculous quirk, I wouldn't think so. Tell me. He paused for a second, a pained look on his face. How many times were you called a freak? What? How many? Izuku asked. Todoroki didn't answer. Right. He said. Sorry, forgot you actually have a nice-looking quirk that you can prove that you have. How many times did your friends tell you to get away from them because you were practically useless? What are you saying? Todoroki asked, clenching his fist. I went through that. Izuku said. Because everyone thought I was a freak. A person to hurt, cheat, and steal from. When you say you won't use the miraculous quirk you've got. Everyone fell silent as Izuku paused. I'll just say it's really starting to piss me of Shoto. He took a deep breath. I worked myself to the bone. Destroying myself and building myself back up from the very bottom. Don't you dare say you've worked hard compared to those of us that have quirks inefficient for combat. You should be thankful. An iceberg shot forward but was instantly blown back. Izuku broke his pinky finger. Non-combat related quirk, huh? Todoroki scoffed. Yeah, very non-combat, Mr. Super Strength. Izuku hissed as he tapped his broken pinky. You can ask any of the teachers at I start. But I only got this quirk the day of the exams. I already said. I destroyed and rebuilt myself from the bottom up. I never would have gotten this had I not. The quirk that could have saved me so much heartache and grief. The day I try and finally achieve my dreams. Life really has a way to F with us lesser people. Stop talking like you know anything. Todoroki yelled, send a Fing glacier at Izuku. Holy 𝗧𝗵𝗲, Tatsuki thought in shock. He has that much power with just his right side. The ice exploded everywhere, revealing Izuku, who lost his shirt in the glacier. His right arm was purple and heavily distorted. I will destroy myself if that's what it takes to beat you, Todoroki. Izuku said. The fog created casts a shadow over the greeneat's face with only his piercing green eyes being visible. What does it matter to you? Todoroki yelled, sending another wave of ice. All Izuku had to do was step to the side. WhatIf? Todoroki said, confused before shivering. You're finally at your limit, huh? Izuku asked the shadows, somehow looking even darker. Tell me, if I wanted to end your life right here, what would you do? How? Answer the question. Izuku demanded. If I was a villain and wanted to hurt someone in the audience, what would you do? I'd let the hero dash. So you'd make yourself an accessory. Izuku scoffed and turned around. I guess I was wrong to think I could save you, Todoroki. You're too far gone. What are you talking about? Todoroki said. Midnight. Izuku said, turning to the proctor. Izuku Midoriya 4th boom. An explosion of fire let loose from Todoroki's left side. All of the frost covering his body quickly melted, leaving him there. There we go. Izuku said, turning away from Midnight. You know you're going to lose now, right? Todoroki asked. Hey. Izuku shrugged. Let's at least make it look Fing awesome, right? Yeah. Todoroki said. Izuku charged his quirk into his legs and left arm before jumping forward. We have to stop them. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 said, summoning 5 large cement walls between the two of them. The walls were instantly obliterated while smoke, steam, and dust filled the arena. Izuku. Tatsuki thought, worried. How the hell didn't he respond to most of his injuries? The dust settled and everyone gasped. Both of them were standing. Only one was moving. Izuku POV. I sat in my chair as I waited for class to start. My sword lied under me as my cast-covered arms couldn't hold it. Midoriya, you're here early. Ida said energetically. It was fake easy to see through the news told almost all of Japan of the sad demise of the hero Tensei. Ida. Aida. I say. It's just me. He looked at me confused. You don't have to hold anything in. He looked surprised before a sad look crossed his face. How did you figure it out? He asked. Your face. I admit. I remember doing the exact same thing when my dad. It was Tensei, right? Ida looked down with ragged breaths. Droplets of water fell to the ground. Standing up, I make my way to him and give him a slightly awkward hug, adding the fact that he was nearly a foot taller than I was and that I had 2 casts on my arms. It didn't matter though, because Ida hugged back as he cried. He was my hero Izuku. He cried out. He was the last person that believed in me. I don't know what I should do. Just let it out. I say, don't let it control you, but let it out as much as you need to. Anyone from our class would be happy to lend you a shoulder to cry on. We both paused. Except Kaken. I say, yeah. She demanded. They have nothing to do with us. I promise no harm will become of your brother. All for One said, I assume you know the other man as well. Yeah, I do. She said angrily. Well, he performed admirably if you would like to know. He paused. Sadly, he was maimed while my men were subduing them. I'm going to kill you one day. She growled out, clutching her white blade. I'm going to kill you and spit on your grave. Now that's no way to talk to the one who can cure your brother, is it? She froze again. F off, she said. He's perfectly fine. Well, I've heard how deadly he dash. I said he's fine. She yelled. We're done here. Sadly. All for One agreed. A purple opened up in front of her, showing the cell. Haka and Klein were looking at her. Klein with only an eye. She walked through and opened the cell door. Come on, you two, she said, hoisting Klein to his feet. I'm so sorry, Klein. This is all my fault. I shouldn't have been so stupid. It's fine. He groaned out. Pretty sure I won't be able to see out of my left eye ever again though. But all that matters is that the two of you are safe from harm. Let's get you to a hospital, big guy. Tatsuki says. There's no way I can treat this myself. Fine. He grumbled. Hey buddy, he said, looking at Haka. Are you feeling better? Why yeah. Haka said. I'm fine. That's good. He said. Hey Haka. Tatsuki said. If I create a portal to your bed, do you promise to wait for me there? I promise. Haka said softly. Good. Tatsuki swung her sword through the air, creating a portal. Haka hesitantly walked through, and before he could even turn around, she closed it and immediately felt the drain from it. She'd have to carry Klein to a hospital on foot. Okay, old man, she said, getting him over her shoulders. Let's go. Izuku POV. I looked at the fire in Hosu in fear. Ida was here somewhere. Ida. I called out. Ida, can you hear me? Damn it, I said, looking around. You're such a goddamn idiot. Stain attacks in alleyways. Right? I spread one for all throughout my body and activated in full cowl mode. 5%. I yell before shooting forward. I'm coming, Ida. I jump through alleyways as fast as I can, not finding any sign of a fight before. There he is. Using full cowl, I plant my feet into the hero killer's face, sending him back into a wall. Ida. I yell. What the hell are you doing? Midoriya, he asked in surprise. Wait, your quirk. Not the time. I yell, jumping away from the shocked murderer just in time to avoid a blade to the throat. DMN brats just keep showing up. Stain muttered, disgruntled. I'll tell you the same thing I told engines here. Leave while you can. I don't kill children needlessly. I only have a problem with the hero behind you. I look behind me and recognize the face of Native laying in his own bed. Native said, Take the boy and leave. She's only after me. Sir. I say, please leave this to me. Run. He yelled. Kid, he's able to paralyze people. It's none of your concern what happens to me. A true hero is someone who butts into someone else's business. I said, remembering one of All Might's speeches. Stain pondered. You're willing to die for them, huh? He asked. Discreetly I use my phone and send my location to all of my contacts. Yeah. I say. I need to stall as long as I can. I do anything I can to help someone. Interesting. He said. That trash behind you has hurt more civilians than most heroes. He doesn't do this job for anything but fame. That doesn't mean he should die. I said. Don't judge someone based on their mistakes. All Might said that. Stain grinned. You might not be a fake like these two. But don't get in my way, Izuku Midoriya. I froze. How does he know me? You know me. Of course I do. He said. You've saved my apprentice twice now. Don't think I haven't been keeping an eye on you. Who Tatsuki, you dumb butt. She's his apprentice. Obviously. So you trained her? I asked. I did. He answered. And she's better than I am as well thanks to her quirk. She's my successor. I flinch at his words as one for all churned in my stomach. You are an inquiry to her. He said. A problem that has no solution. She's very annoyed. I've been told I'm very stubborn. I say. Just a little more time. Menta or Torino must have gotten the text. What are you doing, Midoriya? Ida said, interrupting us. Ida. I say, and he stops talking. Shut up. I told to not do this. And what do you do? I said that I was there for you. Your brother may have died, but do you honestly think he would want you to die as well? You're being an idiot. No one should throw away their life because they lose someone. Now sit back, watch, and wait for your paralysis to be over. There's a reason why I've been carting this tube on my back for a while. I face towards the hero killer. Need any help? I'm asked. Nah, I don't want you to lose control with Ida so close. I unzip the bag and pull my sword out. Sword? He asked, surprised. Midoriya, why do you have a sword? It's what my extra lessons have been over. And my internship. I explained. Against this guy though. We're screwed up the butt on this one. Just help me think out ideas. I snap at the other me. Are you just going to stand there? Stain asked. What? Pull your 𝗵𝗃 blade out. Quickly I pull out my blade and hold in Menta's stance. One for all quickly spread through my body again. Stain's eye narrow as he watches me. That stance is the sword princess stance. Bastardizing it is not very honorable of you. You should get a teacher to teach it to you. He does. A voice says and my heart soars. Sword princess. Stain yelled. So you finally took an apprentice. Yeah. Menta says standing in front of me. You did well, Izuku. My shoulders slump in relief. Thank you, sensei. Go, take the three of them and leave. I can handle good old Stain here. Are you sure? I ask hesitantly. Yes. She said. Now go. I'm afraid I can't let you do that. Another voice said. Tatsuki. I say in surprise. Looking at her I gasp. She was covered in 𝗵𝗃𝗃. Why are not going anywhere? She said before wincing and holding her side. I can feel her crawling her way back inside of me. I'm finally ending this thing. She stumbled softly for only a second and I freeze in fear. Izuku. Is the itty-bitty hero scared? Hi again, Izuku. The BLD chillingly familiar voice said. Damn it. Stain said. Damn it, Izuku. The other me says. Let me help. I don't need your help. I mumble under my breath. I hold my blade up. Izuku. Menta says behind me. What are you doing? I have permission to fight her. I say back. Let me help Izuku. Off. You'll kill them all. Tatsuki shot forward, her eyes now BLD red. I block her strike with my blade. My skin splits open as a phantom blade passes just through it. Ugh. I groan as my BLD stains my costume. Midoriya. Ida yells. He still wasn't able to move. He jolts to the side as he's kicked upside the head by Tatsuki and knocked out. Let me out. Let me out. Let me out. The voice screams and I clutch my head in pain. Deku. I knew that voice. 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗃. I yell. Quick, get the two of them out here. What? He looked at me and grimaced. Let me out. 𝗳𝗲𝗿𝗺𝗁𝗃. I scream, dropping my sword and falling to my knees. Kaken pales when he sees this. Deku, don't listen to the voice. He said. It's not you. Get them out of here. I scream. 𝗳𝗵𝗃𝗃. The voice screamed. Aw, does it hurt? Tatsuki taunted, raising her sword. Izuku Midoriya yelled before blocking a strike from Stain. The sword pierced my stomach and left through my back. I could feel my sanity slip away as the blade continued forward. I heard the voice laugh as it left its cage. It made sure to throw me in and locked it. I was a prisoner in my body. Third POV. Izuku started to laugh as the blade was lodged in his stomach. He chuckled. Ha ha ha. He quickly slapped Tatsuki. She flew into the wall of the alleyway. No. Tatsuki yelled. Wake the hell up. He blew himself forward and delivered a punch to the green-haired boy's face. A small drop of BLD dribbled out of his mouth. Really, Kaken? He asked, looking at the blonde-haired explosion-creating boy. His eyes were completely black. No white was visible. Did you actually think that would work? You know, Katsuki said. Does it really matter? Crunch. Katsuki's wrist snapped as Izuku threw him into the wall as well. Standing up, Izuku looked at the blade impaled into his stomach. Grabbing it by the handle, he ripped it out in one quick pull. He said in pleasure, throwing the blade away. The pain makes me feel so alive. Izuku Midoriya said. What are you doing? Is he under the effect of a quirk? Izuku he asked. No. That weakling's locked away. My name is Phantom. What is this child? Stain thought as the ceased battle between him and 𝗵𝗃𝗃 stared at Izuku or Phantom. Tatsuki, are you okay? He asked. Some bricks were thrown off of her and she stood and grinned. Fine, sensei. Can you kill him already? Yeah. She yelled in excitement, running and grabbing her sword. Izuku. Tatsuki. He said in glee, grabbing his own sword. Are you finally ready to die? Deku. Katsuki said, pulling himself out of the wall. Don't think you're be better than me. Be because of that med demon. I'm appalled you would call me such a thing, Kaken. Izuku said, feigning hurt. You know we have feelings as well. Shut the hell up. Katsuki yelled. I'm not talking to you. Deku, do you hear me, you med nerd? He can't hear you. Izuku taunted, turning towards Tatsuki. Ignore him. He's a piece of I will. Tatsuki said with a giggle. I'm getting sick of this. Stain said, disappearing before attempting to slash his sword into Izuku's skull. Teach. His hand shot up and caught the blade without any complaint. You're interrupting my fight. Izuku said, glaring at the red-clothed man before clenching the blade in his hand, snapping it in half. Suddenly he was on the ground with Katsuki firing explosions at his face. He yelled, firing explosion after explosion. He was kicked into the wall again as Izuku growled. F off, Katsuki. He yelled. He ducked under a white blade and smiled. I didn't mean to leave you out. He swung his blade upwards in an arc, creating a large gash that ran from her right thigh to her left shoulder. She froze as BLD ran down her. Tatsuki. Stain yelled. Midoriya could only stare at her student as he started hurting everyone. Midoriya. She mumbled as he was tackled once again by Katsuki. Green electricity shot everywhere as he activated full cowl. Shaking her head, she ran forward, jumping over Stain and kicking Izuku in the face. Midoriya. She yelled. Wake up. Stain pulled out a knife to block the incoming strike that was aimed for 𝗵𝗃𝗃's arm. Katsuki looked down at his phone. Come on, Genist. As if his prayers were heard, blue and black threads swarmed around Izuku, temporarily holding him back. "Genist," Katsuki said. "Bakugu." "Best," Genist said. "What is going on? Why is Midoriya on a rampage?" "I don't know for sure," Katsuki said. "But it happened only 2 other times. He can't help himself." "How do we change him back?" Menta asked. "I was able to beat him back to normal once," Katsuki admitted. "But he hadn't had a sword or a strength-enhancing quirk." "How many times do I have to say that I'm Phantom?" he questioned, amused. "Keep that girl alive," Menta said to Genist. "She's apparently his disciple," she said, gesturing her head to Stain, who was leaning against the downed girl, trying as hard as he could to stop the bleeding. "Step aside, Stain," he said civilly. Stain obliged and shakily walked away from his dying student. Cloth wrapped around the overly large wound, piercing her skin in a stitch-like pattern and closing the wound and mostly stopping the blood from ejecting itself from the wound. Menta looked at Izuku and growled. Her student had this burden. "Izuku, can you hear me?" she asked. "I already told you. I'm not Izuku, I'm Dash, slap." "Wake up," Katsuki yelled. "You hear me, Deku?" "I hear you." Izuku tried to scream from inside of the cage. "I'm so sorry." An explosion from Katsuki broke a few of the bars, but not enough to get any difference. "Get out of my head," I screamed. Threads broke from around my real body, and he saw Phantom rip them apart and head-butt Katsuki into the ground. Izuku grabbed his sword faster than anyone could react and swung in an arc, slicing the threads that Genist sent at him. Jumping to the edge of the alleyway, he growled at the people in front of him. "Why can't any of you just die?" Ice instantly enveloped the entire area where Izuku was, leaving only enough room under his mouth to breathe. "Icy hot," Katsuki said. He looked at Midoriya with confusion. "Why did I have to freeze Izuku?" "Not now," Katsuki said. "Unfreeze his face." Shoto raised an eyebrow but listened anyway, melting the ice from Izuku's face. "So another pest," Izuku said as his black eyes locked onto Shoto. "And Mr. Daddy Issues thinks he can beat me." "Deku!" Katsuki yelled, punching him in the face. "And an O!" Izuku yelled, gritting his teeth. "Another punch." "No. I refuse. I dash to Fing bad," Katsuki said. "That cage is too good for you." White started to leak into his eyes as he growled. "I'm not giving it back," he yelled. Izuku growled and punched out another bar from the cage. "I'm trying, guys." He ripped a bar off and finally the cage collapsed. Izuku's eyes drained from their black and he looked at the two of them. "I didn't do anything weird, did I?" he asked. "Like bite someone's." He fell out of the now small cocoon of ice onto the ground. "I can't believe that actually worked," Katsuki said before also falling to the ground in exhaustion. Stain looked at the downed children inside. He would have to get native another day. I watched as the green-haired boy who had just been thrown into the cage fell unconscious. The other entity took over and I watched. But why can't I move? I think I thought. Maybe it was his thought. Or maybe one of the others. It gets confusing in here already. We were supposed to be the ones that appeared first so we could train him to handle our kind's power. Why did this always happen? The entity started to attack the heroes. It hurt to watch. It made us sick. Every time that thing broke loose though, our bars were weakened. "Wake up!" We all yell, reaching out to our 𝗵𝘃𝗲. The bars on our cage. And the bars around that. They weakened for just a second. "Wake up!" I yelled, fighting harder than ever. My thoughts swarmed into him, nearly stirring him. "Awake! Save them! I'm weak. I'm a horrible person. Why can't I do anything right? Wake!" I take a forceful step forward. Another. Hell. I grab a bar and shake the entire cage. Up. Answer stirred again and I saw his eyes open. I was pulled back into cage. I grabbed at any and everything to not be set there. I was thrown to the wall of the cage out of breath. Weakened. Is she going to be okay? I think so. Heal her, dumbass. I'm trying. I think she's caught the entity's attention. Everyone try waking 𝗵𝘃𝗲 up. I look down and smile. In my hands was our way out. To help our 𝗵𝗃𝗲. To help the world. It was a key. I shot up out of bed and groaned in annoyance and pain. 𝗂𝗃 really did a number on me. I say aloud, looking at my bandage-covered arms. I look towards the window and cringe when a beam of sunlight hits my eyes. Glancing at the calendar, my eyes widen when I see 2 weeks have passed. Midoriya. A nurse yells, running into the room. Why are you out of bed? You're going to injure yourself. She looked at my mostly healed body. It's. No way. You shouldn't be even able to move. How do you not even have any cuts? By this time, a few more doctors ran into the room, as well as 2 people I recognized. 𝗂𝗃 and 𝗳𝗍𝗄. I say with a smile. Are you 2 okay? Deku. 𝗂𝗃 asked slowly. Is it actually you talking? Any other voices? No, it's odd. I said. Whenever this happens, he's usually annoyed at everything. But I can't hear him think. A doctor walked forward. Mr. Midoriya. He said. You should be laying down. But I feel fine. I say. Sore but fine. No, you misunderstand. The doctor said. You should be in that bed hooked up to breathing machines from how beat you were. You lost a lot of BLD. And that's not even counting the number of concussions you were given. He glared at 𝗂𝗃. I'm sorry. I say. I don't understand. Basically, you were a vegetable. 𝗂𝗃 supplies. A sudden thought occurs to me. Tatsuki. What happened? They're fine. Another voice said. I look behind them and pale. Torino-sensei. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗁. They both stood there. One looked annoyed, the other worried. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 ran over to me and started to look me over, much to the doctor's chagrin. Are you okay? She asked before starting to mumble. Do you feel sick? It's been 2 weeks. Do you even know how worried I was? Maybe you should get 𝗳𝗵𝗃𝗁 water. 𝗳𝗵𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗃. Or 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗁. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗃. Wait 𝗳𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. Dosh have a fever. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃-sensei. I say. She stops and looks at me for a second. I'm fine. I say. I'm only sore. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. She yelled. You got possessed by your quirk before decimating everyone. It took 2 heroes, 2 students, and a vigilante to finally snap you out of it. Sorry. I mumble, looking down. What? She seemed appalled. What are you sorry for? You're not a pro hero yet. You're allowed to make mistakes. Alright. I say softly. Wait, so I didn't kill Tatsuki? No, she's under watch in the room right beside us. Torino said, disgruntled. I need to talk to her. I say. Whoa. Torino said. Hold your horses. What do you need to talk to the villain for? She's not a villain. I snap before blinking. Sorry. I didn't mean to yell. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗁𝗃 sighed. Is it important? She asked. I nodded seriously. I need to do it right now. She sighed again. Okay. The doctors looked at her, surprised. What? Could any of you actually stop him? They thought for a moment before shaking their heads. Good, come on, Izuku. She walked me, 𝗳𝗍𝗄, and 𝗂𝗃 into the room next to mine and opened the door. I gasp in shock when I see Tatsuki held down by chains with an annoyed expression on her face. Here to gloat more. She spits out when she hears the door open. Or are you here to ask me about Stain? I'm not telling you where he is. I say. She stops and looks at us before growing confused. Midoriya. She asked. Are you? Heh. I chuckle. I'm not so sure anymore actually. But there's no voice in my head telling me what to do. Talk about silver linings, huh? She scoffs slightly, laying her head back down a little. So, what did you want to talk about? Are they sending you to break the news that I'm going to prison for the rest of my life? Or that they're taking me to the psycho ward? I smile softly. And no, it dash. Oh, are they giving me the death penalty? She asked innocently. I'd gladly take that over prison, thank you very much. No. I say. Permanent quirk suppression then. She asked. I heard they can do that now. Listen for a second. I yelled before covering my mouth. She looked too surprised to talk. I came to apologize. I said, You got hurt really bad because of me. I shouldn't have been able to put you or anyone in the alleyway in that kind of danger. I got onto my knees and bowed deeply. I'm also sorry for treating every time we met like a game. I stopped for a second. Don't make this weird, she said, looking away. I hesitate. Can you tell me why you became a villain? She froze. On one condition, she said. She looked at the others in the room. Only you. None of them can be in here. Hold up now, 𝗵𝗃𝗧 said. You could escape. I'm chained to a bed. Tatsuki deadpanned. You can manipulate reality at your whim anywhere within 8 feet of you. 𝗵𝗃𝗧 countered. Well, it's been 2 weeks. She said. Wouldn't I have already escaped if I was planning to? Just create a portal right under me and disappear for a few weeks to get my bearings. Don't play games with us, kid. Torino said. Another voice popped in unexpectedly. The two of them are fine left alone for now. A squeaky voice said. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃. 𝗵𝗃𝗧 said fearfully. 𝗳𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃, sir. Calm down, 𝗵𝗃𝗃. 𝗵𝗃𝗧 said. I'm not here to berate you. Oh, thank God. She sighed out. Now then. 𝗵𝗃𝗧 said. Midoriya is allowed to talk to Miss Seraph alone at any time he wishes. But only him understand. 𝗵𝗍𝗧, sir. I interrupt. How did you know I was awake? And how did you get here so fast? I don't reveal my secrets, Midoriya. 𝗵𝗍𝗧 said. Now all of you. Everyone filed out of the room. Bakugo glanced at me for only a second before sighing and leaving as well. The door clicked shut behind them. So, I said, turning back to Tatsuki. Why, you were saying? She sighed and looked at me. Can you put me in a sitting position? She asked. It's kinda hard to talk like this. I'm sorry. I yell, running over to her and helping her into a sitting position. Be better. She sighed. Much better, she said. All right, sit down. She glanced at the chair at the side of the bed. Slowly I sit down beside the bed and she looks into my eyes. They said I was a demon, she said. My parents. She looked down. I got my quirk when I was 11. I accidentally erased our dog from existence. I gasped. Yeah, that was their reaction as well. She said, looking down. And when people don't know what to do, they panic. My dad locked me in the basement as my mom went and checked on my brother. He has hemophilia. But that's horrible, I say. Heh. She laughs without humor. After I had been in the basement for nearly a week, my dad decided that I should be put to sleep. My eyes widen, but I still listen with intent. Down with a noose, she said, shuddering. I suppose they wanted it to look like a suicide. She paused a moment, a tear rolling down her face. And I let him. I nearly fall out of my seat. Before I could continue, she starts again. He got the noose tied around my neck and started to choke me. More tears tracked down her face. And as he did, something inside me snapped. I went crazy. Next thing I know is my dad and my mom's dead body on mine and a voice in my head telling me to hurt people. My brother still doesn't know what happened. He was only a few weeks old at the time. Over time, my brother's problem got worse. The two of us were put up for adoption and a friend of my mom's adopted us. His name is Klein. He was never strict on us. Gave me a good amount of allowance, always made sure the two of us weren't getting into trouble. What happened? I asked. My brother's condition got worse. She said simply. Doctors said his hemophilia got worse. He nearly died in the hospital. Klein wasn't able to afford the hospital. They were outrageously expensive. So we asked the doctors for advice. They said that they could only do so much without frequent visits, which would cost nearly as much as just keeping him in there. I look as her face drops. I started to pickpocket people. She said. Not much at first. Just $20 here. $20 there. It didn't help much, but it still got us through some of it. I never wanted to be a villain. And I was doing fairly well until I accidentally pickpocketed a hero. It wasn't much, just a few lousy bucks. He chased me until I collapsed from exhaustion. He was a dirty hero. Didn't really care if he killed the person he was after. He could create water blades. He was about to kill me when he was stabbed from behind. It was the hero killer. He was just starting out but had already killed nearly 20 heroes. He saw me use my quirk to try and escape. He thought I had potential, took me under his wing. Taught me everything he knew and I learned. I stole better, fought better. He's the main reason that my brother isn't dead yet. I smile softly. You must love your brother. I say. If you're willing to become a villain just so he can be cared for. You're doing a great job as an older sister. I smiled cheekily. 𝗧𝗵𝗲, she said. Last time I saw him I told him to wait while I put our guardian in the hospital because I was stupid and now the League knows who I am. The chains around her shimmered before she took a deep, calming breath. If I'm a good sister 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗍𝗄. I don't think that's necessarily true. I say and she send me a look. You mean your brother's 5, right? She nods. Well, you're probably his entire inspiration. I know I would have always looked up to an older sibling if I had gotten one. You might already know, but most kids thought that I was quirkless because I could never actually prove I had a quirk. Good grades in kindergarten isn't something to boast about and good grades later is just studying. You were treated as quirkless. She asked and I nodded. My city's thought was if you can't see it, it doesn't exist. I say. And what? She asked. Oh, it's not important. I say. You said you never wanted to be a villain, right? She shakes her head. It's just I needed to. Well, I'm still trying to figure it all out as well, but I was assigned a mission by the principal of my school. Oh? She asked. She seemed interested. Yeah. I say. It was finding you and convincing you into joining the hero course with no charges being pressed against you. She looked at me in shock. But I'm working with Stain. And I'm a villain. But you said you didn't want to be right. I ask, seriousness in my voice. I'm supposed to decide if you should be able to join. I trust you. You've had nearly 100 chances since I've even walked into the room. I think of you as a friend. And I don't hesitate when it comes to saving my friends. You is the best hero school. I'm sure if you asked then you wouldn't have to worry about your brother's cost anymore. I'm sure they would be happy to pay it. Just please. Tell them you don't want to be a villain anymore. Tell me you don't want to be a villain anymore. Midoriya. She whispered. She cried. I don't want to. She cried. I've never wanted to be like this. My cursed quirk has only ever hurt anyone. And I don't want 𝗂𝗃𝗃 to ever go through this. Her chains vanished in a flash of light and she tackled me to the ground. And I want him to be happy. I want to be happy. I wanted to just stuff. She hugged me harder, her face digging into my shoulders. My surprise quickly faded away and I returned the gesture. You will be happy. We'll make sure of it. The door slammed open as what appeared to be guards in black suits and masks ran in and pointed their guns at her. 𝗬𝗍𝗶𝗃𝗃, I yelled, holding up my hands. She's not hurting me. Stay over 9 feet away. The guard yelled. Stop it. I yell. Tatsuki slid against the wall, holding her hands into the air. The guard said, aiming his gun at me. What are you doing in here unsupervised? I stand straight up. I'm Izuku Midoriya. I say. I'm allowed in here unsupervised. You can ask Nizu. One guard raised his radio and pressed the button. There's another kid in here. He said. Yes, not just the girl. Yes, boy, green hair and eyes. But sir. He stopped as an aggravated hiss drove through. Yes, I understand. He turned to the others. He's allowed up here. He turned back to Tatsuki. Why are you out of your bane, Seraph? He trained his gun onto her. She just got excited. I defend, stepping in front of her. And stop aiming you guns like they're toys. You're going to kill someone. He's right. Someone said behind the guards. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃. I say happily. Izuku. She said. I go to grab food for everyone and I come back to find you in trouble. Again. Sorry, sensei. I mumble, looking down. She sighed. It's fine. She looked at Tatsuki before staring at the guards. Is this seriously necessary for one little girl? A little girl that has a quirk to manipulate reality. It's protocol, ma'am. The guard said. Please lower your weapons. 𝗵𝗃 asked. I'll take all responsibility for the girl while she's in the hospital. One said. 𝗬𝗵𝗃, are you questioning me, sir? She asked, a dangerous tone in her voice. No, ma'am. The guard replied. 𝗵𝗃 said. The guards left quickly, leaving only the three of them in the room. You should still be bound up. She said, looking at Tatsuki. We both know it was just a matter of time before I got annoyed enough to get rid of them. Tatsuki said, shakily getting up. Hey, I say, helping her up. Thanks. She said as her face flushed from effort. And not standing for 2 weeks kinda makes you stiff. She chuckles softly. What now? She asked. The door opened and 𝗍𝗬𝗍 walked in. Now you go home. 𝗍𝗬𝗍 said. Eat, sleep, clean yourself, reunite with your 𝗵𝗃𝗃. Yes, sir. I say. Why, you heard everything. He said. Tatsuki Seraph, you are accepted into you hero course. You're to follow Izuku through his time in you. You graduate when he does. He looked her in the eyes. We are well aware of both your financial and communal status. We will be sending checks to your guardian 𝗵𝗃𝗃, who by the way is watching your brother, and we will be having your brother and guardian under 24. Our surveillance until the threat has been dealt with. Tears trimmed down her face. I still don't understand why. She said. I've hurt. Killed people. But because All Might and more importantly Midoriya believe in you. 𝗍𝗬𝗍 said with a rare serious face adorning his face. And those two are quiet, possibly the only ones who can relate to you and you. Their votes counted the most. Yes, sir. I whisper. What would happen if I ran? She asked. 𝗍𝗬𝗍 said. Would be let go. We won't hold any charges against you, but you will not be allowed to send you money. And if you flee from your home and your guardian reported it, you would be counted as a runaway. He had every angle covered for her. Thank you, she said, bowing. Thank you so much. It's no problem, 𝗍𝗬𝗍 said. But as I already know what you'll choose, I'll send you your uniform as well as your first monthly stipend. I expect great things from you, Tatsuki Seraph. Understood. Why, yes, sir, she said. Now Midoriya. 𝗍𝗬𝗍 said. I do believe that the entirety of 1A is waiting for an explanation of what happened to you. I paled. Oh, I suggest if you want to keep everything a secret that you make a 𝗵𝗃𝗃 good lie. Izuku POV. I looked at the entirety of my class as they stood in the middle of the hospital's lobby. You all here to see me? I asked, pointing at myself. Tatsuki giggled softly behind me. You could say that. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 said. Well, I'm alive. I say cheekily, waving. What are you hiding from us? 𝗵𝗃𝗃 yelled out before getting slapped across the face by Izuku. Thanks. I mumble. Actually, how do all of you know about this? A video was posted of you on the internet. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 said, pulling up her phone, showing me beating the people in the alleyway. It looked as though it was taken from above us. It looks like you, but Katsuki keeps saying that it actually isn't. It's complicated. I say. I sigh, looking at them. You useless women. Stop, please, not my baby. How could you make this some? Can I just not talk about it right now? I asked. More memories of the night popped up. But he has a quirk, it's just like yours. No, all he hears is a voice. Nothing like my quirk. Izuku. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 asked. Are you okay? Huh. I look at her. Yeah. But bad memories. Anyway, that wasn't actually me. Katsuki's right. I was being controlled by someone's quirk. It put heavy traces of lead and platinum in my BLD. I can't believe I just lied to all of my friends. Oh, 𝗵𝗃𝗃 said. That makes sense. Kind of like that general course student. Why, yeah, I said. But why couldn't you bust out of that one? 𝗵𝗃𝗃 asked. It just took him a while. Kaken said. He wasn't prepared to actually get hit with it. Oh, 𝗵𝗃𝗃 said. You make sense. Who is that behind you, Midoriya? Mineta asks, a pervy grin on his face. Your girlfriend. If not, I call dibs. He lunged forward and was met with a kick to the face. Courtesy of Tatsuki. White. She said, a white mist enveloping around her. Mineta fell to the floor before he was stomped on. You pervert. She yelled, kicking him into one of the waiting room couches. Nice catch, Midoriya. Kaminari whispered into my ear. Why you all have the wrong idea? I yell, waving my hands. She's not my girlfriend. She's 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗲 to be our and new classmate. Way to spill the beans, Midoriya. Tatsuki huffs. But you're that girl from the video. Momo said. How are you even standing after an attack like that? Pretty much fused my skin and organs back together subconsciously, she said. She lightly pulled down on the right of her shirt, showing a thick white scar. Fuse? Momo asked. Is it your quirk? Not necessarily, she said. My quirk is called glitch. It allows me to manipulate reality within about 8 feet of me, or if I try really hard 8 feet past what I'm using as my weapon. Usually my sword. Sword? Mina asked. That's right. You and Midoriya were using swords in the video. Is that what all of your extra lessons were for Deku? Ochako asked. Why? I say, rubbing the back of my head sheepishly. Izawa-sensei said that I would be better off using something like my sword until I can get a grip on my quirk. And then I can interoperate it into my style. Also, Mina yelled. You never said you were getting taught by the sword princess. Seriously, Midobro. Oh, actually I didn't technically intern under her. I say. I interned under Gran Torino. She was asked by Nizu to help me out. And not that it's her responsibility. And she's taught me so much already. I don't think I'll intern under her again. And I'm kinda like a bad luck charm. Well, when you put it that way. A voice said behind us. Turning, I see Menta holding out an enormous bag of food. Menta, I say, surprised. Where did you go? Got us all some food, she said. This your class? She scanned over all of them. weaklings. What? Half of the class asked, surprised. Menta said, I whine. Don't insult my class P, please. I was joking, she said with a laugh. Hey, all of you. She looked at the class. Aizawa wanted to tell the lot of you off, and I heard he was on his way here. Stick with him or free food. Your choice. Come on, Midoriya, we need to make our last day of interning count. See what you learned in the 2 days I was able to teach you. She grabbed my arm and started to drag me out of the hospital before stopping. Tatsuki, you shouldn't keep your brother waiting. All right. She took a step and stopped. Can I create a portal home? Have no clue where we are. Sure. Since it's And here. She tossed a sword bag to Tatsuki. You might need that for school tomorrow. Thank you, Tatsuki said. She pulled her white sword out of the bag and unsheathed it. Some of the students gasped before she glared at them. She swung the sword through the air before a shimmering white portal that showed her home fizzled into existence. By Midoriya. Bye Tatsuki, I said, waving to her as she stepped through the portal. It vanished. That chick was super hot, Mineta said before getting slapped again. Food time. Menta yelled, dragging me out of the hospital. We were followed by the entire class. POV, let me out of here right now so I can kill you. He yelled, rattling the newly made cage. Good job on the cage. I compliment the orange hue. Thanks, partner. He said, the mist making a motion as if spinning a gun on his finger. Ye keep forgetting I'm not solid anymore. Just keep trying. I say, lifting my red hue of a hand up in a thumbs up. I turn to the solid BLD red figure in the cage. Sorry, we have to lock you up, Phantom. I'm not yelling at you, kid. He screamed. You aren't like them. He punched the cage with effort. Don't make me make it sound proof, partner. Orange said, looking at the BLD red figure. I don't think we should let him even see. Blue said, walking forward. After locking us away for years. And trying to take control. I sighed and looked at the group of 8 people. This is going to be hard. Hello, everyone. All Might boomed, walking into the room. And hello to you as well, Tatsuki. Hey, All Might. She said casually. I'm sure all of you have already met young Tatsuki here. He said, patting Tatsuki's shoulder. And most of you don't know why she's here, correct? Most of the students nodded. Well, I'll allow Tatsuki to explain it to you. He said. Go on now, Tatsuki. She sighed before walking forward. Hey, she said. So, I met you. Pretty much because they want to keep a close eye on me. Why would they want to keep an eye on you? Chaco asked. Because I'm a villain. She said with a shrug. What? Ciro yelled. Why the hell are you here then? Because. I said, walking forward. She saved my life. During USJ. She healed me when she could have just killed me. And she could have killed me 100 times after that as well. So she's a villain who doesn't have the stomach to kill. Ciro rebutted. What does it matter? I only did all of that for my brother. Tatsuki said. It's rare now that quirks became a thin, but he has hemophilia. And but we don't have the money to keep paying hospital bills. You offered to help pay if I went here. That's terrible. Mina yelled. Now everyone. All Might said. We don't need to crowd her. Just know that everything was out of her control. But now she's turned over a new leaf. Everyone gave another glance before looking away. Today everyone. All Might said. We're doing rescue training. This is to test how well you improved over the internship. We will go in groups of 5. The first group will consist of Ciro, Ida, Mina, Azui, and Midoriya. Whoa. Kirishima said. That's completely unfair. Why would you put the fastest people against Izuku? No offense, man, but you can't really use your quirk well. Trust me, young Kirishima. All Might said. You'll all want to see this. That caught everyone's interest. Are all contestants ready? All Might asked. Just a second, All Might, sir. I say, scrambling to pull out my sword. Are ready. Then. He paused a second for dramatic effect. Go. Full cowl. I yell. Green electricity bouncing off of me. 8%. Third POV. See All Might. Kirishima said as everyone else was already hundreds of feet ahead of Izuku. Look again, young Kirishima. All Might said. Everyone gasped when Izuku caught the lead and shot past like a blur. At one point he tripped, but he used his sword to swing under the pipe like a jungle gym. You see, Kirishima. All Might said. As you all have been told. The second part of his quirk didn't actually develop until the entrance exam. Izuku was already 80% to the goal. So he had to train 10 times as fast as you guys to get where he is. If I was to put levels on you, all your quirk level would be at 50 while his is a measly 10. He is bound and determined to be better. It is a true hero's passion as well. Izuku passed the line. Plus ultra. Plus ultra. The class yelled. You tripped. Tatsuki told Izuku as he walked through the door. Sorry. Izuku said. I was using Kaken's movement type to get through and it worked really well. I just need to fine-tune it to my type of build and quirk. Your kind of build relies on your legs, idiot. Tatsuki said. Using your arms with that kind of power is dangerous. Like permanent disability dangerous. Sorry. He mumbled again. Wow, the two of them are close. Momo said. He was tasked as the one to convince her to join us. Katsuki said. Of course he'd be the only one she trusts here. You all immediately saw her as a villain. He didn't. He turned around and walked out of the room. His turn was up. Oh. Momo said, rubbing her arm ashamed. She frowned and walked over to the two of them. Oh. Izuku said. Yaoyorozu. Tai. Hello, Midoriya. She said before turning to Tatsuki. I'm sorry. She bowed slightly. For immediately making you out as a bad person because of your past. It's fine. Tatsuki said before turning back to Izuku. So try and use your legs more. They have an enormous amount more potential than your arms until they're strong enough. Momo walked away sad as they continued to talk. Tatsuki. Izuku asked. At Hosu, when we first saw you, why were you hurt so bad? Because. I was bringing a friend of mine to their hospital. He was attacked by the League. He lost his eye but he saved my brother. I had to repay him. All of Hosu was being attacked by other gnomes. Everything was on fire. Great. Izuku sighed. So they attacked as a cover for having you and Stain in a partnership. Stain would never work with people like them. She said heatedly. He has a good cause, bad reasoning. They have no cause or reason. Only reason I was with them was for the money. Do you know anywhere they could be? Izuku asked. No, they always contacted us. She said. Sorry. And I have a question for you. Why did you go insane? Like for real? Izuku glanced around and pondered. 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃's not here. Guess I'll tell him later. He turned to her. Ever since Hosu, I can't access my quirk. He whispered. It's actually scaring me. He's always there thinking, helping me think. 'Cause that's his job. He hates it but he likes living as much as I do. But ever since Hosu I can't hear him anymore. That's concerning. Tatsuki said worriedly. I can still hear her. She's not taking over unless I'm getting hurt badly though. Oh. Izuku said. It's just weird, you know. Yeah. Izuku Midoriya walked down the sidewalk. In front of us four was a mansion. Somehow my friends had convinced me to go to Ida's house. I can't bring you to my house. I said to the three of them. But why not Deku? 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃 asked. We could meet your parents. While it is sad, we must respect our friends' privacy, 𝗬𝗧𝗏. Ida chided. But I believe it would be fine if the three of you came over to my house. Tatsuki snorted. Sure. I've never been in a rich kid's house before. I'm not so sure about this. Izuku said as Ida opened his door. It's fine, Midoriya. Ida said. My parents wish to meet you actually. Why? I asked. Probably because you saved him. Tatsuki says to my right. I say. What about you, Tatsuki? 𝗳𝗏𝗃𝗃 asked. Won't they worry about you? I'm sure they'll be fine, 𝗬𝗧𝗏𝗃. Ida said. They are both pro-heroes. Oh yeah, 𝗬𝗃𝗃𝗃 said. I forgot about that. Hey Deku, what do your parents do? 𝗬𝗃𝗃𝗃. I asked loudly. I'm taking him with me. Not my baby. Get out of my way, women. He might still be useful to me. Why no? I say loudly. Psst. Right. Tatsuki drawled out suspiciously. What kind of stuff? They work overseas in America. I lie. They don't come home much. Oh, so you live by yourself as well? 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃 asked. Why? Well, what about you, Tatsuki? She asked. Died in a car accident. She lied with a shrug. My Uncle Klein takes care of me and my brother. Oh, 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃 said. Sorry, didn't mean to bring up bad memories. Tatsuki sighed. It's fine, 𝗬𝗧𝗏𝗃. Mother. Father. Ida called out. I've brought guests. Is it that boy? A motherly voice called back. Yes, Mom. Ida called. Instantly a lady was in front of me shaking my hand. Ida has told us so much about you, young man. The women said. She had long blue hair and engines under her shoulder blades. I'm Maria Ida. It is a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Midoriya. And nice to meet you as well, ma'am. I say, bowing. Oh, and he's so sweet. Maria said. You still keeping my boy out of trouble? Why, yes, ma'am. I say. She looks at the two girls standing beside us. And one of you must be 𝗬𝗃𝗃𝗃. That would be me. 𝗬𝗃𝗃𝗃 said, walking forward and bowing politely. And you are? She asked. Looking at Tatsuki. My name is Tatsuki. Tatsuki said simply. Sup. Maria's nose crinkled as she looked at Tatsuki. So. She said. Anyway, it's nice to meet my son's friends. Please make yourselves at home. She led us into a living room where a tray of sandwiches lied. Thank you, Mom. Ida said. We'll be studying for our finals for a while. Okay, you four. She said with a smile. Stay focused. She called out as she left the room. I don't think that your mom likes me. Tatsuki says. Of course she does. Ida says. She just doesn't like when people are informal. Oh. Tatsuki says, pulling her bag off of her shoulder. Man, how do you all stand these 𝗵𝗃 uniforms? She loosed her tie and unbuttoned the top button. It's so cramped in them. Tatsuki. I said. What? She asked. I'm just undoing a few buttons on my blazer. It's why you're dash. All is itty bitty hero in training scared of girls? She asked teasingly. And no it's. Oh, you totally are. She said. Oh, I'm just joking, Izuku. Alright. I mumble looking down. But seriously, Tatsuki said, can you request adjustments? This is still super uncomfortable. Why, you can bring a pair of clothes with you for after school. I suggest. But how would that work for during school? She asked. I guess it wouldn't. I say. Deku, is there something wrong with you? Chaco asked. That sounded bad. I mean, is something going on with you? You've spaced out a lot less. And you seem less smart. No. And more like you don't think as long before you decide stuff. Part of my quirk is mental. I say, and with me studying for the exams, it's getting worn out as well. Oh, that makes sense. She said. Anyway. Ida said. Let's start studying. Tatsuki Ochako, if you need us to slow down, just ask. Are you implying something? Tatsuki growled out. What? Ida asked. Implying what? That you're smarter than the two of us. Tatsuki said. I don't understand. Ida said. I was saying that because Ochako isn't as high in the class as we are, and this was your first day of class. I don't know what you know. So you're just assuming I'm not intelligent. She growled. Hey. I say softly to her. He's and not implying anything. I step in between the two of them. Let's just calm down. Not until he apologizes. Tatsuki said. Tatsuki. I plead. Midoriya, tell her I'm not trying to imply anything. Ida said. Aida. Gur, fine. Tatsuki yelled before grabbing the two of our bags and then my arm. Study without us. Izuku, come on. Wah. I yell as I'm pulled away. Bye. I yell to the two of them. Where are the two of you going? Maria asked, stopping the two of us. Or just leaving. I say. Bye, ma'am. Teach, Tatsuki said, pulling me out of the house. Quickly she pulls out her sword and makes a portal in the air and tosses me through. I yell before my face hits a wall. I groan before looking around and seeing that I was in a room. A girl's room, to be exact. Tatsuki. I hear a young boy yell before the door slams open. I look at the small boy for a second. Ayahah. He screams, pointing at me. Wait. Uncle Klein. A boy is snooping through Tatsuki's room. What? That's not it. I promise. The door slams open again and a tall man wearing a bandage over one eye runs in. Where? He asks before seeing me. The hell? Get out of this goddamn house before I call the cops on your butt. Yes, sir, I swear. I say. This is all a big misunderstanding. I duck as the man tries to hit me with a coat rack. Stay still. He orders. Wait. Just stop for a second. Rah. He yelled, swinging the coat rack again. I scream as I fall to the floor to avoid it. I roll to the side just in time to avoid his heel coming down onto my spine. Help. Oh, you'll get help. Klein yelled, walking forward. The hospital should be able to keep you alive after I'm done with you. God help me. I whisper as the man corners me. Dash. Hold up, old man. Tatsuki yells, falling out of another portal. Not his fault. Oh my God, Tatsuki. I yell in happiness. What the hell took you so long? Tatsuki. I kind of thought I teleported you to a beach I've been to. What? So I made another portal and couldn't find you. She said. So then I figured I probably sent you to my house instead. Sorry. It's fine. I say. I'm sorry for the misunderstanding, sir. I yell, bowing to the half-blind man. Tatsuki. I just nearly killed this boy. He said before sighing. Be more careful with your portals. We're still not sure how they work. Sorry, Klein. She says. And sorry again, Izuku. It's fine. I say again. Let's just study here. I ask. Klein yelled. I don't care what you mean by study, but I won't be having a delinquent near my niece. He's not a delinquent, Klein. Tatsuki said. He's a classmate and we're studying for finals. And you will do so in the living room. He said, leaving no room for argument. Fine, you paranoid butt. Tatsuki huffed, throwing me my bag. There is Izuku. Thanks, Tatsuki. I say, catching it. Opening the bag, I sigh. Which subject do you want to start first? I looked at 𝗵𝗃. Favorite color? I ask. Buildy, he growls out. Okay. I say. You. Red. I say with a smile. Favorite person? You. He grumbles. Oh. I giggle. My more visible hair shifted softly along my back. You. He asked. No one. I say. I love everyone equally. 𝗵𝗃 said. What's your name? I ask. He freezes. It's not any of your business, kid. 𝗵𝗃 said. I'll tell you when you're older. What? I ask, surprised. I know you're older than us, but that doesn't mean you can bully 𝗵𝗃𝗲. He's not my 𝗵𝗃𝗲. 𝗵𝗃 said. What do you mean? I asked. Just keep trying to escape, Red. He said. Or whatever the hell you're doing. I'm not trying to escape. I told him. I'm getting stronger so 𝗵𝗃𝗲 can use us. Tisich that. 𝗵𝗃 turned around in his cage and closed his eyes. Everyone tries to escape in the end. I feel at the bags under my eyes with concern. The dreams keep coming more frequently. I tell myself. It's so weird. 𝗵𝗃 being in a cage. Is that why I can't talk with him? And who are those other three? I've seen the orange boy and the red girl, but they said something about a blue. Could they be one for all? One for what? I hear behind me. Bitch. I scream, jumping to the side. It's nothing, I swear. I look behind me and see a concerned-looking Tatsuki. Okay, she said. Her look was scrutinizing as she stared at me. Tell me. Your last na dash. Move out of the way. We're. Looking behind us, I see Ochako, Ida, Mina, Azui, Kirishima, Jiro, and Momo running through the hallway. Wadash, I say before Tatsuki and I are being dragged through the hallways. What's going on? I yell my question to Jiro. We've got a huge tip on the finals. She yelled back as Ida pulled me to my feet. We get to the classroom and see Kaken, Kaminari, Mineta, and Ciro. Guys. Ciro said. I got a tip for dash. Tell us already. Mina yelled. Robots. He said simply. Like the entrance exam. I think they might do a point system as well. Are you sure about this? I ask. We have to have absolute certainty before we make any rash decisions in our plans. Yep. A third year told me that's what it is every time. Ciro said. Are you sure they weren't told to tell you that? Tatsuki asked. Ciro scoffed. Don't need your commentary, villain. Hey. I step forward. What's it matter to you? What? A whisper ran through the class. It matters so I don't get stabbed in the back. Ciro yelled, stepping to Izuku. She's not like that. I never wanted to be like this. Izuku. She said, pulling on my arm. He's not worth it. Just leave him be. I blink and remember that I'm in a classroom. Looking around, I feel my face flush when everyone was looking at me in shock. Sorry. I mumble, looking down. I don't know what got into me. I walk over to my seat and cover my face. Why does my head feel so fuzzy? Aizawa walked in and started to talk, but I couldn't focus. I hear. Midoriya. I snapped my head up in shock. Aizawa looked at me concerned for a second. I realized we were the only two in the room. When was the last time you've slept, Midoriya? What? I asked, confused. He said. When was the last time you've slept? I slept last night. I say, confused. But because everyone is in their third PRD. He said flatly. I'm so sorry, sensei. I say loudly. It's fine, Midoriya. He said. If you need more sleep, go ahead. I don't get any classes until 7th and 8th PRD. And I'll wake you when you should get to finals. Sensei. I ask surprised. Why dash? I'm cut short by a yawn. Pillow hit my face. Get some sleep, trouble child. Izuku said, crawling into his sleeping bag. You can take your paper exams tomorrow. Wait, sir. I say, laying my head onto my pillow. I pass out within seconds. To Izuku. I mumble. Aster. I feel a puling sensation. Sir. An unfamiliar voice reached my ears and my eyes shot open. No. I mute her as I recognize the place I'm in. No. It was the cage. I turn and face a red hue. It was clearly a girl, but she had no defining features. I drop into a basic fighting stance and face her. W8. She shrieks. I don't want to fight. She waved her hands. Just want to tea-talk. What? I ask surprised. You're the one I keep seeing in my dreams. I say, standing straight again. Wait, I'm dreaming, aren't I? Definitely. I remember Izuku letting me sleep in his room. No. She waved her arms. I came to apologize. I've been trying to get stronger so you could sense our presences, but that somehow made it interoperate us into your dreams. I'm the reason why you've been so tired. But who are you? I asked. I have no name right now. She said. But I'm sure I'll remember it at some point. So you trying to get stronger made me tired? I asked and she nodded. But you can obviously sense me now. She said cheekily. I grinned as well. I guess that's good, right? I asked with a laugh. I'd like to think so, partner. A voice said behind us. Turning, I see a golden yellow hue in the shape of a boy holding what looked like the outline of a large revolver. You're the other one I've seen. I said. From the first dream. That's right, partner. He said. Call me Orange. Orange. I ask and he nods. Well, I think it fits. He says, waving his hue of an arm at his yellowish gold body. So you don't remember your name either? I ask and he shakes his head. Nope. None of us do. Except for Phantom, but he's never told us. Wow, the dash. I stop as I feel the entire world shake. What's happening? I ask surprised. You're waking up. Red said. Goodbye, Mstr. Be seeing you. Orange said. I'll talk if I can. Red yelled. Bye. I say, waving. I was pulled into blackness before shooting up from the desk. A small, comfortable black blanket fell off of me. Sensei. I asked, looking at the scruffy man. Yeah, kid. He said. You should probably get to the examination room. His brows furrowed. If you decide you can't perform well enough, just head down to Recovery Girl and get some more sleep. Alright, Sensei. I said, slowly getting out of the seat and walk. And you out of the room, Midoriya. He said, stopping me. Why, Sensei? I asked. He sighed. I'll cut you a break since you're not in any condition for the test at all. He seemed to hesitate. The examination isn't all that hard. He hesitated. Just don't overthink. He said. What? I asked, confused. Just get going, kid. He said, and I nodded. Thank you, Sensei. I say, bowing before running to the examination room. I reach the examination room in my hero suit and my sword secured to my back. Kakin yelled. Where the hell have you been? Izuku-sensei let me take a nap in his room before the exams. I can see why, Izuku. Tatsuki said, walking forward in a standard P uniform with her sword secured to her back as well, just on the opposite side. You still look like complete my eyes. I ask and she shakes her head. Well, yes, just that you're thin and more pale than usual. She looked concerned. Are you eating all right? I flinch before nodding. Why? I say. Probably just a passing flu. She sighed before looking away. I'll just bug you later till you tell me the truth. She said with a grin. I frown. Students. A voice I recognized as Nizu spoke over the intercom. Please file out of the door to your right and enter the bus, where you will be taken to your final examination. The battle portion. And young Midoriya, I was informed by recovery girl of your absence. It is excused. Be sure to set a date to retake. Yeah. I mumbled tiredly. The bags on my eyes felt heavier than minutes ago when I heard the word battle. Izuku. Tatsuki said. I try and turn to her but trip and fall. Or I would have if she hadn't caught me. Izuku. She said. Hey dude. Fine. I say shakily, standing up. I'm fine. Dude, you're not fine. She said. Quirk acting up. I say, and she freezes. He's back. She asked. No, he's been locked in a cage. I say. Actually, I don't know what's happening. She helps me back to my feet. Dude, you look dead. Fine. I say again. Just can you help me to the bus? Sure, Izuku. She said, sliding under my shoulder. She practically has to drag me to the bus. Midoriya. Ida asked as I'm set aboard. You're not looking too good. Fine. I mumble. I'm fine, Ida. I snap, glaring at him. Sorry. If you're sure. Ida said, sitting back down. I'm led to a seat before I feel my head lay on a bus window. I only just realize my eyes close. Izuku, stay awake. Tatsuki said, snapping my eyes open as she sits down beside me. Sorry. I mumble. She sighs before placing a hand on my forehead. Wah. I ask before I feel my blood rush faster. Adrenaline blasted through my body. My eyes shoot open in surprise as the adrenaline woke every muscle in my body. What did you do? I ask. I forced you into an adrenaline rush and upped your adenosine production. Oh. I say. I think I get it. I sigh again, but the bags under my eyes felt lighter. I didn't do it much though. She said. That could seriously damage the glands that produce them. So you'll be like before in about 8-10 minutes. It's just until you can start moving your body when we get out of the bus. Thanks though. I say, giving her a smile. I really appreciate it. Geez. She said, looking away with a scoff. You make everything so weird. We arrived to the test site, which was just the testing areas for the entrance exams. Aizawa stood in front of the testing area before he stepped forward. Be blunt. He said. You were all lied to by the third years for the final exams. It's not robots. What? The class yelled. I knew it. Tatsuki yelled before freezing. Sorry, sensei. He said. As I said, you won't be fighting robots, but figures smashed into the ground, revealing the teachers. Mente-sensei. I say as she stands up. What's up, little dude? She said before frowning. You doing okay? Heh. I chuckle softly. We're fighting the teachers, aren't we? Tatsuki asked. Aizawa said. In pairs of 2 you will go against a teacher. Of course we're not unfair, so us teachers have to wear half of our weight on each limb. As long as you think you should be fine. Wait a second. Didn't he tell me you will fight as such? Aizawa said. Mina and Kaminari against Nizu. Katsuki and Kirishima against Cementos. Jiro, Shoji, and Siro versus Present Mike. Momo and Todoroki against Eraserhead. Ochako and Aoyama versus 13. Mineta and Sato against Midnight. Tokoyami and Koda versus Ectoplasm. Azui and Mashireo versus Kamui Woods. He stopped when he saw the 2 of their faces. Yes, the number 23rd hero. Ida and Toru against Snipe. Wait a second. I say, looking through the group of student and teachers. I pale. No way. What? Tatsuki asked. The 2 of us are against Mente-sensei. I say, squeezing my fist shut. But that's so unfair. She's literally number 11 and it's her first year. Oh, I'm glad you think so highly of me. Mente said, rubbing my messy hair. But it's true. And besides, I'm 3 times as heavy as normal. Each sword strike literally weighs more than half of your body. I counter. Just deal with it. She said. Yes, Izuku Midoriya and Tatsuki Seraph are up against me. Mente the sword princess. So whoever thinks they're unfit, resign now. She glared harshly at me. I glared back. She smiled ruthlessly. I'm screwed. I stand beside Tatsuki as we walk through the abandoned city. I trip and nearly fall. Dude, are you sure you can pass like that? She asked, squirming under my shoulder. Hopefully. I say. Don't want to cause you to fail. If 𝗵𝗃-sensei finds us, which she will, leave me behind. I can fight, but I'll slow you down if we're being chased. Understand? Izuku understand? I ask slightly louder. Fine, Izuku. She growled out. It happened only moments later. 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗁. I hear 𝗵𝗃-sensei yell. Thinking as fast as I can, I shove Tatsuki to the side to avoid 𝗵𝗃's blade. Nice reflexes for a sick man. She complimented before swinging. I duck, but I'm not fast enough for my hair to get out of the way. Nearly a handful of green strands fall off of my head. I say, damn it, I just went to a barber's. I mumble out my words as my hair falls. Izuku, pay attention. 𝗵𝗃 chided, kicking me in the chest. Holy Seraph, her legs are strong. I think as I feel a rib break. Tatsuki hesitated as 𝗵𝗃 walked over to me. So, I hear in my head. Oh wow, I must have been hit harder than I thought. I lift myself up. Hearing voices. It's red. I freeze. What? I ask the voice. Hi, I duck under the kick aimed for my throat and try to activate full cowl. Keyword try. I scream as electricity sprung from my body. I fell to the ground as every nerve in my body felt like fire. Izuku. Sir. Our run already. I scream, getting back up and hastily drawing my sword. Tatsuki growled. Don't get to hurt Izuku. She yelled. Or don't expect it to end with this exam. She turned invisible and I lost track of her. Do you think you can win? She asked genuinely. You've got no quirk to help you and I haven't even used mine yet. I say, and she grins. I hope you're ready for what you've brought onto yourself. She said. I can't keep going like this. I think to myself as another cut appeared on my cheek. Do you need a break? Red asked. Not if it involves you taking my body. I tell her, ducking again. No, it's more like we're sharing. It's still your mind and your body. You can stop me from doing whatever you don't want. I jump over a strike only to be met with a kick. You shouldn't jump into the air if you're not in control of the situation. Are you sure about this? I ask her. Pay attention. A large gash was slashed onto my arm. What the hell has got you so distracted, Midoriya? Sorry. We said. Izuku's lending me or body. Our sword gleamed with darkness. Green electricity blew out of our body. Phantom. She said. Nope. We said happily. I have no name. I slash up with my sword and shadows as well as green electricity flow towards our sensei. She dodged to the right and the attack missed completely. This is the feeling of pure euphoria. This is absolutely amazing. It never felt like this with Phantom. It's because we're a team. Red said. And it seems you got my shadow quirk as well. I actually didn't know that could happen. Izuku. 𝗵𝗃 yelled. Snap out of it. What? We asked. No, this isn't like before, Sensei. We wave our hands in front of my face. We feel absolutely amazing. Are you still Izuku? What? We asked. Of course, just someone else as well. Maybe. I'm not sure. I feel energy surround my blade again. But knowing how to use it now, I should be able to make it faster. A student has successfully escaped. Students Izuku Midoriya and Tatsuki Seraph pass. We freeze. We did it. I ask. Go to sleep, 𝗵𝗃. Red said. You're in no 𝗵𝗃. I pass out before she can even finish. Tatsuki looked at the boy laying on the bed. Hey dude. She mumbled, grabbing the boy's hand, heavily scared hand. Still can't believe you're friends with those peppy buttes. But I guess by definition you're one as well. She rubbed her thumb over one of the larger scars. God, why the hell do I trust you so much? She sighed. And how are you tied to all for one? I heard what you said earlier. And I'm currently questioning a vegetable. Your name as well. Midoriya. She paused as she remembered the news that day. Your father. Your parents don't work overseas, do they? No, they don't. A voice said behind her. Holy F, she said, turning around, pulling out her boot knife. Hi, 𝗬𝗂𝗧-sensei. Hey, kid. He said, walking over to Midoriya and ruffling his hair as he slept. Your class is going to be the death of me. First Yuji, then Stain and you, and now this. He's going to be fine. Tatsuki said. He's to God med annoying to not be. He's probably dreaming about puppies and unicorns now that I think about it. Izuku snorted as he pulled a chair to the opposite side of the boy. The goal for the two of yours test was to get that self-sacrificing attitude out of his head. But you both passed effectively. It was also a don't abandon your comrade shtick, but that'll be irrational if a situation like that ever happens again. The two of you probably would have had a better PLA had he been in better condition. He did something, I think. She said. No one is telling me, though, not even the students. 𝗬𝗵𝗃. He lost control. Izuku said, causing her to flinch. Or at least all of us thought so for a minute. That was until he started. He must have made a deal with the voice. He was sharing his body and used its quirk. Which should be impossible. Lots of things should be impossible, sensei. Tatsuki said. Like me being a hero. He sighed. You deserve to be here just as much as anybody here. Are you sure about that? She asked with a scoff. All I've done since I've met them is hurt one and aggravate others. You've also gotten Midoriya to stand up for himself and for you. Izuku countered. The only other person who has that right is Bakugo. And of course All Might. He thinks you're more important than either of them. Heh, she says. Yes. He thinks I'm like All Might. She thought for a second. I guess I kind am. Izuku POV. I looked at 𝗵𝗃 in surprise as she pulled me away as everyone left the campus. I look at her. What is it? She shoved 2 tickets into my hands. I'm heading on the yearly trip to Island. She looked away in embarrassment. I was wondering if you could go with me. They gave me 3 tickets. And I want you to convince Tatsuki as well. So, did you think? Why yes. I say with a smile. Thank you, 𝗵𝗃-sensei. We'll represent you well. And take this. She said, handing me a scrap of paper. It's my personal number. If you get into a bad situation and you want it to go under the radar, I've got you covered. Don't worry. I surprise both her and myself when I latch to her with a hug. I promise, sensei. I say. Her arms dropped around my back as she returned the gesture. And don't hesitate to call me if you want to talk. She said. I won't. I say, running off campus with a wave. As I ran, I was hit from behind and crashed into the ground. I screamed before I was eating cement. So, Tatsuki said, jumping off of my back. I mumble as my now bleeding lip was raised from the sidewalk. Hi, Tatsuki. I'm pulled up and steadied. Oh, CRP. She says softly. Man, sorry, didn't mean to bust your lip open. It's fine. I say, waving her off. I'm fine on my own. You don't have to waste your time. Here. She said. Come to my house, I'll have Klein fix you up. What? I ask, surprised. And oh no. I wave my hands in front of my face. It's a fin dash. I say before I'm pulled into a newly created portal. I guess. I stood in front of a startled Klein as he cleaned up spilled soda from his shirt. Damn it, Tatsuki. He cursed. How many times are you going to do that? Man, that was my last root beer. Sorry, old man. She apologized. I kinda did the same thing to Izuku. She gestured to me and my busted lip. Was kind of wondering if you could patch him up. He sighed and looked at me. Greenie. He greeted. Hi, Mr. Klein. I say, bowing. Sorry F for intruding. He sighed again. It's not your fault. He said. She's still trying to figure out that part of her quirk. Come here, let me look at it. He pulled me down enough to where he could see my lip and sighed. You'll need stitches. He confirmed. Want me to take you to a hospital? No. I quickly say. Sorry. Fine, I'll just let it heal on its own and let it scar. Okay, kid. He asked concerned. Why? I say. And my mom would kill me if she figured out I went to the hospital over my lip. Well, I could do it here. He suggested. Don't have anything other than 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗃, but it should dull the pain after. Why you don't have to, sir? I say. He looked it over. It's just under your lip. I don't want you to get an infection there. Tatsuki, get the needle, thread, and rubbing alcohol. And the lighter. After a minute I was being held down by Tatsuki softly as 𝗵𝗃 focused his one eye on my lip. My quirk allows me to focus clearly without being distracted by the way, so I shouldn't screw up if you don't move too much. See, can't Tatsuki fuse it together? I ask as the needle was heated to kill the germs. You want me to fuse both of your lips together? She asked. What I did that time was just supercharge your body's healing system and guide your flesh. I could never get this small wound to close right. Oh, of course. I mumble. I nearly groan as the needle pierces through my lip. Not having a sedative 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗲. You okay, Izuku? Tatsuki asked. I nod as 𝗵𝗃 pulls the string through, tying it as an anchor. I mumble. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗁. I bite my tongue softly as the needle once again enters and leaves my lip. Like a rainbow shitting unicorn. I squeeze her hand tightly as he goes for a third stitch. Why you have a strong grip? She says. Well, your hands are soft. I mumble as a bit of BLD enters my mouth. 𝗵𝗃 mumbled. Don't talk so much, kid. I just poked through. Sorry. I mumble. It's fine. We're halfway done anyway. He said, wiping the needle off to get a better grip. Hey, don't focus on the needle, Izuku. Tatsuki said, putting her fingers above my eyes. See my fingers? I was about to say yeah before another stitch is quickly sewn into my lip. But suddenly her fingers disappeared. Another stitch. I hear her hiss in pain as my hand squeezes hers harder. And we're done. He says after tying the end together in a small knot. He doused a part of a bandage in rubbing alcohol before wrapping it around the back of my head. I'm not a doctor, so it's probably going to scar, but it shouldn't get infected. Oh. I mumble. My lip burned in pain. That really hurt. I say. Obviously. Tatsuki said, helping me to my feet. You didn't have any anesthetic. I know. I say. A memory of the 2 tickets entered my mind. Tatsuki. Yeah. She asked. I quickly pull out a ticket and hand it to her. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 wanted us to go to 𝗳𝗏 Island with her for the yearly trip. Oh. She asked, surprised. WIS. I don't know. I say. It might have been that we fought her for the finals. Or that you interned under her. That too. I agree. Did you want to go? Sure. She said, handing me back the ticket. I look at her confused. Just hand it to me at the airport. Alright. I say, grabbing the ticket. I'll see you there, Tatsuki. I say, running of the house. Wait a second. I look at the completely unknown layout of city before me. Tatsuki. I yell, running back into the house. See, can you make me a portal back to you? Wow. I yell as I look out of the window. The airplane was lowering itself enough so that we could see the island. On it were larger-than-life buildings and thousands of civilians and scientists listening to presentations. It's so cool. I know Mr. Midoriya. A voice behind me said. Paul might sense it. I say, seeing him and a blonde person who looked a couple of years older than I was. Hello, young Midoriya. He greeted. And this here is young Mirio. He's 2 years your senior. In class 3. Wait, you're Midoriya? Mirio asked. All Might talks about you a lot to the class. What? I ask, surprised. Izuku, what's going on? Turning, I see Tatsuki and 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃 looking at us. Oh hey, All Might. Hello to you as well, young Tatsuki. All Might said with a chuckle. You keeping an eye on Midoriya, correct? Have you seen what trouble he gets into without supervision? She asked. He's not leaving my sight, All Might. She said, sarcastically putting a sleeping patch over her eyes. Right. All Might said. Is that your girlfriend? Mirio asked. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 walked off of the plane with a busted lip and a black eye as Midoriya held back Tatsuki. I thought you said she had a leash on him. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 said, nursing his eye. Not that it'd be the other way around. What was that? Tatsuki asked. Sorry, ma'am. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 yelled. You better be. She growled out. Tatsuki calmed down. I whispered. People are staring. She glanced around before silencing herself. She said. Don't think you can get away with holding me, Izuku. I stop for a second. A small laugh leaves my lips. Heh. I laugh. I let her go and my chuckles grow audible. Are you laughing at me? She yells, stomping her foot. Sorry, I can't stop myself from laughter as her face turns red. She elbows me in the ribs. Oh. I mumble, my laughter stopping. Sorry. Young Midoriya. All Might said. Did you just... it? I ask. Laughing. He seemed confused. When do you ever laugh? I'm sorry. I apologize. Seraph, did I make them mad? What are you apologizing for, idiot? Tatsuki asked. Laughing's good. I know. I say. Jay, just don't laugh much. I look down embarrassed. I look stupid when I do. You look stupid anyways. Tatsuki said, causing all of us to look at her. What? Young Tatsuki, don't speak to your friend that way. All Might said. It's fine, she was just joking. I defend her. Is that All Might? We all heard. Turning, we saw a horde of fans and were immediately surrounded. That's the Sword Princess. Are those their disciples? They're so cute together. Wait, what? Can I have your autograph? Me too. Can I have one as well? Hold up just a minute, folks. All Might said, pulling out a pen. 𝗵𝗃𝗃, would you mind if I asked for your assistance? The line only grew longer. Uncle Might. We all hear before a blonde blur crashes into All Might. Melissa. All Might said. How are you, my dear? I'm fine, Uncle Might. She chirped. She stood up and I saw how long her blonde hair was. I'm 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃. She said as she turned towards us. Well, it's nice to meet you as well, Melissa. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 said, helping All Might to his feet. My dad wanted to talk to you when you got here. She said excitedly. Let's go. She dragged him away from his awaiting fans and all of us were dragged with him. All Might, my friend. A dirty blonde-haired man said, greeting the six of us. David Shield. All Might said. How have you been? Machines keeping you up all night. Here, these are my students. Tatsuki Seraph, 𝗵𝗃𝗃 Togata, and this is Izuku Midoriya. The doctor seemed to flinch at my name. It's nice to meet you and all, but Dr. Shield said. Melissa dear, show our friends around the expo. I have to talk to All Might. Daddy. Melissa said. She grabbed my hand and 𝗵𝗃𝗃's and started to drag us away. I felt a sudden jolt as I was pulled back. What? Looking back, I see Tatsuki holding my other hand. Hey, the nerd stays with me, she said, with a dangerous glint in her eye, to Melissa, who frowned but let go of my hand. Sorry, didn't know you two were a thing, she said. Wait. I say, waving my hands. It's not like that. Tatsuki growled and let go of my hand before looking away. Let's get to the expo, 𝗵𝗃𝗃 said, stepping in between us. She set her hand on top of my head and rubbed my hair. Don't want to miss the good stuff. I look away embarrassed as she rubbed my hair. I was surprised when I saw Kirishima punch through a robot that looked like our one-pointers before throwing it away. And that's time. The announcing lady yelled. 1 minute 42 seconds. My turn. A familiar voice yelled. Kaken. I yell to the ashy blonde. He turns and grins at me. You better watch this, Deku. I've gotten better since our last fight. Ready? The announcer asked. Go. Kaken exploded off, destroying robot after robot around the small hill. What? The announcer yelled. We have a new record. 13 seconds. My turn. I yelled, diving out of the stand to everyone's surprise. Izuku. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 yelled. You think you can beat 13 seconds? Not if I don't try. I yell back with a smile. We have another challenger who thinks they can beat 13 seconds. The announcer yelled. She turned to the audience. Do you think he can do it? Hype him up. Ready, Red. Of course, 𝗵𝗃. I allowed her to merge with my mind. The great feeling that came with it flooded my body, causing me to grin. Shadow like tendrils and lightning forced their way around me. Full cowl shadow style. 10%. I yell as all of it grew denser. Whoa! The announcer yelled. Get ready. She paused for a second and I readied myself. Go! I sprinted forward and tore my way through the entire hill. The shadow like tendrils piercing through every nook and cranny of the robots, immediately destroying them. Then time. She yelled. We have a new record. 5.8 seconds. The crowd cheered and Kaken glared lightly at me. Great going, Izuku. 𝗵𝗃 yelled. Red left my mind and went to do whatever it was she did. I climbed back into the stands and am hugged by 𝗵𝗃. Good job, kid. She yelled. You've got the whole crowd feisty with that display. Whoosh. An iceberg shot from the ground covering the hill. 2 seconds. Our new record. I sulk as Todoroki walked away. And never mind. 𝗵𝗃 said. It was good while it lasted, huh? I fell to the ground and sulked more before my stomach growled. Hey, let's get a bite to eat. Tatsuki said, dragging me to my feet. I was dragged the entire way. His quirk is so unfair. I say, shoving a piece of 𝗬𝗓 into my mouth. Melissa had left as her father called her. Yep. Tatsuki said, pulling her 𝗬𝗵𝗃 closer to her. 𝗵𝗃 watched us. And he didn't even use his fire. Yep. She placed a noodle in her mouth. How am I going to get faster is the real question. I swallow my 𝗬𝗓 and think for a second. Maybe I could morph Red's shadows into some sort of propeller and use it kind of like 𝗳𝗂𝗃. That wouldn't work. Maybe I could make the shadows into a grappling hook of some kind, pulling me faster. Sure. She said. Midoriya. Tatsuki. We here behind us. Turning, we saw Mineta and Kaminari standing there in waiter outfits. Like it? Kaminari asked. We're working here for the few days so we can go to the expo. And you should continue working. Tatsuki said. So we can go back to our conversation. Oh, don't be so mean, Tatsuki. 𝗵𝗃 said. She is correct. An orderly voice said. Aida. I say with a smile. You're here as well. Indeed I am. Ida said, walking forward. Get back to work, both of you. Don't soil you, this name, to talk to some friends. Yes, sir. The two of them yelled, running back to the kitchen. May I join you three? Ida asked. Tatsuki sighed. Sorry, Ida, table is only accustomed to 3 people. There are 4 seats, Tatsuki. Cling, cling, cling. Look again. Tatsuki said as the chair turned into metal bars and fell to the ground. Ida said. I apologize for intruding on your three's meal. Ida said, bowing and leaving the table. The chair reformed perfectly back in place as Tatsuki slurped another noodle. That was mean, Tatsuki. I say with a frown. Now my fault, he decided to ask. Tatsuki said. Hey. A pair of familiar voices say. Suddenly a chair is pulled up as the newly remade one is taken. What 𝗃 talking about? Mina asked as Momo sat in the borrowed seat. And Midoriya, you player you. Who would have thought that the class cinnamon roll would be sitting with 4 girls alone? You need to tell me your secret. www. My face hit the table as I blacked out. No. Third POV. You broke him. Told the giggling pink-skinned girl. Izuku was face down in his 𝗬𝗓, steaming from embarrassment. Mina, that was very, very wrong. Momo said as she tried to hold herself together. Mina laughed, holding her sides as she fell to the ground. Oh my god, did he actually faint? I'm so sorry, but I'm not. Tatsuki sighed as she bit into another noodle. Hey, you broke my student 𝗵𝗃. 𝗵𝗃 said. Or will I have to break the 2 of you? And no, ma'am. Mina yelled, standing up. She walked over to the downed Izuku and bent towards his ear. Izuku shot up red-faced and bolted away from everyone, much to the enjoyment of Mina. Ah! She screamed, laughing. It's just too funny. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 sighed and stood up. Well, it looks like our tour is over. She cracked her knuckles as she faced Mina. Now Mina, what did you say? And nothing bad. She promised. I just... Her cheeks turned red, holding in the laugh. I said that Tatsuki was in a swimsuit she wanted him to see. Tatsuki fell to the ground, surprised. WWAK. She tried to yell before choking on her noodles. She fell to the ground, kicking as she choked. Help. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 ran over to her and repeatedly smacked her on the back, causing her to cough up the noodles. Momo, run. Mina yelled, pulling her friend out of the white sword's way. I'm going to kill both of you. It was heard across the entire island. Izuku POV. Does Mina really have to mess with me? I asked the air, kicking a pebble down the road. Izuku. Turning, I see Melissa running towards me, holding a small green and red wrapped box. Melissa. I ask. What? I walked towards her as she ran. She stopped when she was about 4 feet away. Midoriya. She said, stopping to catch her breath. I have something for you. She held out the green and red wrapped box. What is it? I asked, looking at the box curiously. It's a 𝗳𝗵𝗃𝗃 dummy. She said with a smile. I made it myself, though Dad said he had to look it over and modify it. She seemed glum. Here, open it. I hesitantly take the box and cautiously open it. In it was a cuff of metal that seemed to be layered. She pulled it out of my hands before grabbing my right arm. Uncle Might told me how you injured yourself in a fight because the impact was too much for your body to handle. So I made this out of the same metal that withstood 3 full power punches from Uncle Might himself. She slapped the cuff over my wrist and locked it in place before pressing a button on its side. The metal sheets piled forward until they covered the entirety of my wrist, palm, and knuckles. I gasped at the red color. Item. Looks nice, Melissa, but I can't possibly take this from you. It looks so expensive. I frowned. I would never be able to afford this, Melissa. It's a gift dummy. She clarified again. That means it's free. No. No strings attached. I asked cautiously. Is she playing me? Using me for something? I don't think she is. Thanks. I say. I don't know what to say. I click the button again and it shrinks back down to the bracelet. Cherish it, Melissa, thank you. I smile at her. I hear someone take a step and turn. Tatsuki. Tatsuki looked at him. It's a gift dummy. The blonde Satan said. That means it's for free. So, no strings attached. Izuku said, making her heart turn sorrow. She watched as the girl put the bracelet on his arm before extending it over his arm. It was useful to the boy. When had she ever done anything useful for the boy? She clenched her fist. I can be useful to Izuku. She took a step. Izuku froze and turned around before blinking. Tatsuki. Tatsuki turned and ran. I'm so stupid. She thought to herself. I'm not useful to anyone. Why the hell would I be useful to him? Tatsuki. She heard before footsteps started to follow her. Stop following me. She wanted to yell. She pulled out her sword and slashed through the air, creating a portal to their shared room. Jumping through it, she snapped it shut before the green-haired boy could follow her. She ran to her bed and sat down before pulling her blanket over her. Tears streamed down her face. Why can't he stop? Why is he such an idiot? Why did I think we could ever be friends? Time passed and the door opened softly. WWHIC. She stopped for a second. What do you want, sensei? She turned and faced the blonde. Izuku told me what happened. She stopped for a second. Or at least what he thought happened. Besides. She pulled out a brown tub. I've got ice cream. It's nothing. Tatsuki grumbled to the sword princess. Oh. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 asked. Is that why one of my 2 favorite students is crying her eyes out on her bed while the other is completely confused about why and thinks that it's his fault? It is his fault. Tatsuki yelled. He's doing this to me. Maybe. She stopped as more tears leaked out of her eyes. He's supposed to be my friend. Not that blonde bimbos. Now he's just taking everything she's giving him. They just met. 𝗵𝗃 stopped for a second, surprised. Tatsuki was just being possessive. 𝗵𝗃 frowned. Stand up, she ordered. Tatsuki stood up off of the bed and faced her sensei. What's wrong? She asked. Why can't Izuku be friends with her? Because he's my friend. Tatsuki said with gritted teeth. Obviously, but why do you really not want him to be her friend? Why? 𝗵𝗃 said louder, making Tatsuki flinch. Because he'll leave me behind. She mumbled. He's the first person to ever understand what I've been through. The voice in my head. My quirk can bend reality. No one ever treats me normal. And then I met Izuku. And he was nice. And the second time I met him, he helped me. If I lose him, I don't know. She was pulled into a hug. Oh God, I have to give you a talk. 𝗵𝗃 mumbled into the hug. And this is literally my second least favorite one. Second? Tatsuki asked with a mumbled laugh. You don't want to know. 𝗵𝗃 said before pulling back. She sighed. You think now that he's found a new friend in a different place he's going to up and ditch you, right? Tatsuki just nodded. Okay, so we've found the root of the problem. 𝗵𝗃 said. Why do you think he would ditch you? Because he was happy when he was talking to her. Tatsuki said. 𝗵𝗃 hissed slightly. Treading lightly here for all's sake. Izuku wouldn't ever abandon someone he cares as deeply as he does for you. He would destroy the world to save you. No one who spends only a day with him could ever compare to what you two have been through, okay? Really? Tatsuki asked. Oh, Tatsuki. 𝗵𝗃 said, pulling her in for another hug. She was quite surprised when Tatsuki returned the gesture. Thank you, she said. 𝗵𝗃 just hugged her more. You want to impress him away from the girl, right? 𝗵𝗃 asked her, and she nodded. Then you're going to have to do it the party tonight. She pulled out a small phone. Hey. Yeah? Emergency. We're room 847, you need to be quick. It starts in 2 hours. Almost as soon as she shut her phone, the door slammed open as a tall, dark-skinned woman entered. Her hair was silver and her eyes were an entrancing blue. Why, you're... Tatsuki said. Yes. The lady said. I'm the pro hero Rune. The most appealing hero there has ever been. She looked at Tatsuki and smiled. Eyes tired from crying, tangled hair that passes your shoulders. You must be trying to win someone over. 𝗳𝗄, Tatsuki asked. Just go with it. 𝗵𝗃 whispered to her. You poor darling. Rune cooed, pulling a dress seemingly out of nowhere. How did --? You best start brushing your hair, dear. Rune said, pulling out a pair of scissors and instantly slicing the back and straps off of the dress. Taking up a needle and thread, she started to work out a new seam in the styled cloth. Okay. Tatsuki mumbled. Izuku POV. I sat worriedly in the sand waiting. Pulling out my phone, I send another message. Is she okay? It took a couple of seconds, but I actually received an answer this time. She's feeling better. Thank you for telling me. I know you're still waiting at the beach, so I sent someone to get you and help you prepare for the party. That's good. Tell her I'm sorry if I did something. Thank you, Sensei. I click send and shove my phone back into my pocket. I wonder who she's Midoriya. Turning around, I see Mina and Momo dressed in dresses that fit their personality well. Mina's was pink and lavender, with the edges being a shade of dark black. It went down to her ankles. It had long sleeves that had portions taken out. Her hair had been tamed down a bit, showing off her horns a bit more. Her hair was pulled into a multitude of small braids that suited her oddly well. Momo's dress was a bit shorter than Mina's, but not by a lot. Hers had short sleeves and a simple style of purple and blue. Her hair was done up in a ponytail that had been set over her shoulder. Momo. Mina. I say, surprised. Are you the ones 𝗵𝗃-sensei sent to help me? Yep. 2 hours till it starts. Mina yelled, grabbing my arm and pulling me out of the sand. We're going to Momo and I's dorm. Tatsuki is in your guy's dorm. WhatIf. I was shamelessly forced into a shower and had to force the door shut as I dressed to slow them down. I barely get my hair dried before they slam the door open and freeze. Momo looked at my chest horrified while Mina paid my scars no attention, which I was grateful for. She was a lot more gentle as she forced dress shirt after dress shirt onto my body though. Don't faint, don't faint, don't faint. I repeated to myself. Mina said, eyeing my hair. It's uneven. Momo. She held out her hands and next thing I knew I was being held down by Momo as Mina trimmed my hair. It was barely noticeable when I looked in the mirror, but I could tell my hair was straight. 𝗵𝗃 owed me for the finals. Mina shoved my head under the sink and washed my hair again saying I had done it wrong. But I used both shampoo and conditioner. I say. Momo scoffed and Mina chuckled. Boys, Mina said playfully. Anyway, I think I figured out the color scheme. Green tux, black vest. Make the tux shirt red. And the green needs to be barely noticeable that it's green but still clearly green. And give me red bow tie. Make both red dark like the tux. Same green breathes. With only a left pocket. Mina rambled off words I barely understood. I was shoved back into the bathroom. With a pair of dress breathes and a red undershirt. Change so we get the rest of it on you. Mina called through the door. I quickly pull the dress breathes on and my undershirt before I realized something. How did they get my size? I opened the bathroom door to see them talking on Momo's phone. Momo? I asked. How did you get my size? Oh, I just looked at your clothes. She said offhandedly. Yeah, he's almost ready. No, you can't see him. Goodbye. She hung up the phone and looked at me. Yes, perfect, come here. Mina grabbed my arms and pulled me towards them. Okay. Momo said, pulling out a bow tie. She paused for a second. Over or under your main tux? Andre'll look better. She said, disregarding my opinion. I walked behind the two girls slowly as we reached 1A's rendezvous point. Get ready, Izuku. Mina said, walking towards me and brushing off my suit. Momo, see if she's in there. Right. What? Wait, who? Mina didn't say anything. They're all there. Momo said. Stay at the door until we call you. Mina said, pushing me just to the side. Ready? She asked Momo. Momo nodded and the two of them walked through the door. Whoa. Look at the two of them. They look like royalty. Mina's so pretty. Momo, you should help me next time. That's not all guys and gals. I heard Mina say. Come on in, Izuku. I hesitated for a second before shakily walking in a freezing. Everybody was staring at me. Stop, 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 stop. I want to scream. Oh my god, Deku. Ochako said. You look so good. I hesitantly scan over the crowd. I stop on Tatsuki. Appealing. You can say that again. Now I feel small. She was wearing a backless dress that was white with black stitching and edges. The dress went to her knees and her long black sleeves were cuffed at the end. Her hair was tied into a double ponytail that split over each shoulder. I walked slowly towards her and the few students parted away. Tatsuki. I say, looking down. I apologize for what I did to make you sad. Tatsuki looked down and her eyes reached the bracelet and her face grew a snarl. Sorry. I say again. The doors opened and Melissa walked in with a backless, sleeveless dress. Tatsuki was being held back by Mina and she was nearly growling. Are you okay? I ask her. She grabs my arm and pulls me closer to her, glaring at Melissa. Guys, the party has already started. She said. Let's dash. Alert, alert. A robotic voice said. A bomb has been discovered on Island. What? Melissa said in surprise. A bomb. For your safety, we are putting all main buildings on lockdown. Please return to your homes. Metal sheets covered the windows, blocking the escape. Tatsuki cursed, stepping closer to me. Do you have a plan, nerd? I pause for a second. Yeah. All Might and 𝗵𝗃 are at the party right now. We just have to get there. It's this way. Melissa said, pointing towards a door. We walk out slowly and I see the entire scene 5 stories below us. Everyone was trapped in a capture weapon, including All Might. How do I let them know I'm here? Use your phone's flash. Red suggested. Pulling out my phone, I put the flash on and turn it on and off. It doesn't take long for All Might to notice before he frowns. Momo, make a small microphone attached to a super thin wire. I say. And make a headset that can hear what he says. It takes a few seconds, but soon I'm quickly lowering a nearly invisible microphone to 𝗵𝗃. It's relieving to hear his voice as I put on the headset. Kids, get out of here, escape. He urged. I shake my head and he frowns. Listen kids, you must escape. 𝗵𝗃 urged again. These villains have taken the island hostage. You are our top priority. I shake my head. Ugh, fine. He said. Listen, they've taken over and cut the power. They've taken 𝗳𝗵𝗃𝗁 and his assistant up to the top floor. Don't do anything stupid. I nod, a determined glint in my eye. I promise. I know you don't want us to get hurt, but we also don't want any of you to get hurt. And we're kick butt. Language. We go to the top floor. I say, reeling the microphone back up. And? Mina asked. We restore the power and take out the safety protocols. I answer. When we do that, 𝗵𝗃 should be able to get to the top floor fast enough to stop any of us getting hurt. Great plan and all, nerd, but there are 200 floors in this building. Tatsuki said. 𝗵𝗃 cried out. How are we supposed to climb that? The elevators are off, so I hope none of skipped leg day. Tatsuki said. Ochako, how many of us do you think you could make weightless till we reach the top floor? 2 or 3, but 4 tops. She answered. I say. Momo, make a radio for us to contact each other. We'll need it to ask Melissa how to shut down everything. Right. Momo said, creating 4 radios. She handed 3 to us and kept 1. In case you need to split up. She answered my unasked question. And don't mess with the frequency. Right. I say. Thank you. Ochako, make Tatsuki, Iida, Todoroki, and I float. All right. Ochako said, tapping each of us with 5 fingers. Done. Good. You 3 follow me. I say, and each of us, much quicker than we would have with our weight. I yell. Momo, swords. She looks at me before nodding. I catch the 2 sheathed swords and hand the white one to Tatsuki. I made the metal as durable as I could. She said. Thanks. I say. Now let's go. The 4 have had no trouble until we reached floor 50. What should we do? Todoroki asked. Tatsuki, can you make to where we can walk through the door? I ask and she looks blankly at me. The hell do you think, nerd? She asked, placing a palm on the door. The door started to become slightly see-through and we all passed through. Huh. She scoffs. Child's play. Let's just continue. Iida said. Every floor after that was blocked off by the same large metal doors. Even so, soon the 4 of us reach floor 80. Okay, the stairs should be dash. I pause when I see the number on the elevator start shooting up. Damn it, everyone hide. I yell, pulling Tatsuki down beside me in a bush. The elevator opened and 2 men wearing the same suits as the men on the first floor walked out. The boss said that they were down here. The skinny dude said as the 2 of them walked through the room. Hey! A familiar voice said. There are the 𝗵𝗃𝗁 kids. The bulky man answered. Looking over, my eyes widen as I see 𝗂𝗂𝗃 and Kirishima walking through. What the hell are the 2 of you doing up here? The skinny man said. Oh, sorry about that. Kirishima said. I kinda got us lost getting to the party. Don't lie to me. The skinny man said, flinging his morphed arm forward. Watch out. I yell, jumping forward and tackling the 2 of them out of the way. Deku. 𝗂𝗂𝗃 yells. The hell's going on? No time to explain. I yell. Villains have taken over. 𝗳𝗃𝗃𝗃 yelled. And these are some of their lackeys. Yeah. I say. Red, lay it on me. No sweat. Shadows and green electricity flowed through my body and the air. We've got to shut off the safety protocols. But they're at the top floor of the building. Suddenly I and 2 others were on peaks of ice overlooking the scene. The 3 of us will deal with the villains, Midoriya. Todoroki said. Go save everyone. I look at Iida and Tatsuki. We're almost halfway there. The 3 of us ran on the catwalk. Tatsuki used her quirk on the blocked door and the 3 of us passed through easily. I'm going to save you all. We reached the 130th floor. Century bots. I said, looking at the easy 50 robots. I have an idea. Ida, throw me into the middle of them. What, are you crazy? Ida hissed. You could get hurt. I look at Tatsuki. Can you do it? She asked. I think so. I say, do it, Ida. She said, he's not an idiot. Fine. Quickly he grabbed me and threw me into the very center of the robot horde. Hi. I say, eat shadows. Red yelled in my mind. Shadows flew through the room, piercing through the robot, leaving all of them broken and useless. Let's go. Going up another few sets of stairs, we hit a server room. Is this where all of the building's data goes to? I ask aloud. No, this high up. Tatsuki asked. No, they store that kind of stuff secretly. The two of us looked at her. What? I was hired a few times to download some data from a few. Ida tried to say before the end of the room opened up and sentry bots flooded the room. We probably shouldn't destroy these. I say aloud. And have these on our but the entire way up. Tatsuki said, swinging her blade forward. Sorry, not my style. She stops as I pull on her arm. Izuku. You two leave. Ida said. I can handle these guys without breaking them. Both of your powers are quite a bit more destructive than mine. Right. I say. Be safe, Ida. I drag Tatsuki out of the room and up another set of stairs. The two of us make it to an outside balcony. Pulling out the radio, I hit the button. Momo. I call in it. Momo, do you hear me? Yeah. I hear from her. We're trapped. I say the only way to go is up. Tell Ochako to release her quirk. The only way to go is straight up. I don't want her to accidentally lose control when we're too far in the air. Instantly my body felt heavy again. Now get Melissa ready. I say. I'll need her to tell me how to shut it all down. Izuku. Tatsuki said. Furrowing into the room were robots. Tatsuki said, slicing a close one in half. Use your quirk. I tell her and she nods. She sliced through the air and nearly 12 robots were cut cleanly into multiple pieces. 3 jumped her at once. Tatsuki. Die. An explosion rocketed the robots away. Kaken, Kirishima, and Todoroki came into view and I smile. Todoroki froze the entrance, stopping all of the robots. Just in time, Kaken. I say with a grin. Todoroki. Yeah. Send us all to the roof with your ice. I say. I'm sick and tired of playing their games. I pause as a plan quickly formed in my head. It's time they played one of ours. Hey, Mr. Third POV. Let's go. David said, snapping the last latch down onto the briefcase. The actors should be clearing everything out. I just have to get this to him. And hopefully that boy doesn't show up. Right, Professor? The assistant said. He was stopped as his throat was latched by a metal rail. I'm sorry about that. A man with red hair and a metal mask said. But I need the two of you to stay here. Let him go. David demanded. This isn't part of your act. No, doctor, you misunderstand. The man said. Our act was making you think that we weren't villains. WhatIf? David said, looking towards his assistant. Was this? Did you do this? Sorry. The assistant croaked out. Now. The man said. You still need your payment for doing your job. He raised his gun to the trapped assistant. Thank you for your cooperation. Boom. The roof exploded inward and a bundle of teenagers fell through. Todoroki. Izuku yelled, throwing him a radio. Ask Melissa how to shut everything down. Tatsuki Kirishima back him up. Right. The 3 of them said, running out of the room. It's you. David yelled. What are you doing here? Go watch after my daughter. She's safe, sir. Izuku said. Kaken. What do figure we do? Kick his butt, Deku. Katsuki said. I'll go after the red-haired man. Izuku said. He looks like the boss, keep the others off of me. Don't give me orders. Katsuki yelled, running after the 2 others. Don't make threats you can't keep. The red-haired man said. Metal spires shot forward, barely giving me time to dodge. Can't you see? He said. I'll be all for one's right-hand man with this device. It will make me unstoppable. Midoriya. David said. Get out of here. You shouldn't get hurt because of me. Now where's that remote? The man said before pulling out a remote with 2 buttons. Midoriya, don't let him push that button. David said. Izuku shot forward, but he was too late. A chilling voice ran through my mind. I fell out of the air, my quirk failing. What? Izuku asked loudly. You see that little bracelet you're wearing? The man taunted. David here put a quirk suppressing device into it. As long as it's on, you have no control of your quirk. Please turn it off. Izuku yelled, fighting the guttural instincts. Hello, a chaotic voice said. Can I have a turn? Izuku POV. I growled out. Get out of my head. Are you going into quirk shock? The man mocked. No. Katsuki said, seeing this. He shot himself forward and shot an explosion in the man's face, sending him flying into a pillar. Don't listen to him. Let me out. I yelled. Hold up there. Orange said. Stay out of our 𝗵𝗃𝗃 mind. Red yelled. You think the 2 of you can stop me and help him out at the same time? Izuku. I heard. They're not alone. Blue. Red said. Blue, you're here as well. Damn it. Curse you. Phantom says. Don't think that it'll always be this easy. I'm always in the back of your mind. The headache leaves my body and I stand up shakily. Katsuki said, landing beside me. I'm fine, Kaken. I said before I'm tackled to the ground. Izuku. Tatsuki said. Snap out of it. I'm still me. I say. What? She asked, surprised. Oh, thank God. I don't think any of us could get you out of a rampage if you lost control. Ditch the system. I exclaim. Has been shut down and All Might's on his way. And not if I can help it. A voice said. Turning around, I see the red-haired man slam a helmet-like device on his head. Get out of here. David yelled. That's my creation. It amplifies quirks to extreme levels. No. I yell, looking at him. I'm ending this here. Tatsuki, destroy this bracelet. I yell, handing her my arm. It's stopping me from using my quirk. She doesn't hesitate in atomizing the device. I turn and hug her. Take Kaken and the professor and get them to safety. I'm going to get this guy. Izuku. She said as I ran. Kaken, make sure they're safe. Yeah, Deku. He yelled, grabbing both of them. Full cowling. I yell, green electricity and shadows sprouting out of me. Shadow sword style. I swing my shadow-covered sword through the air. Out of the blade, shadows soared through the air at the man. An enormous wall of metal stood in front of him. Pathetic. He yelled. A metal beam came from the ground and shot me into the roof. And then through the roof. I screamed as BLD shot out of my mouth. Izuku. I hear Tatsuki scream. Damn it. I say, standing back up. Is that all you've got? I regretted that question instantly. I couldn't even make a sound as 3 beams of metal slammed into me simultaneously. I grunt out as they pull back. I think you might have broken a rib. You think this is a joke? I admit. I swing my sword forward, sending a surprisingly fast and large shadow. Green electricity radiated off of it before it impacted with the man, sending him into what I assume was his getaway helicopter. What do you know about 𝗵𝗃𝗃? I ask. What is he doing? Where is he? I'll never tell you, he said. Pipes and beams constructed together and formed a giant monster around him. Man, you got ugly fast. I comment. Sorry. Insults come out when I'm nervous. Die. The man screamed. I was instantly bound in metal as 10-ton weighing beams shot at me. Izuku. I hear. Did I just die? Phew, boy, that was a close call. A mighty voice said. I believe I owe you my thanks, young Midoriya. All Might. I look up at the blonde man. Hey, little dude. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 said. You did really good. She sighed and rested her hand on top of my hair. Tears streamed out of my eyes. I was fine. I defend, wiping my eyes. It's your guy's fault for being so late. More 𝗵𝗄𝗧𝗵𝗲. The monster said. How dare you interfere? Interfering is our job. I say back. That's what a hero does. Well, what do they do against this? The man asked. Suddenly behind him hundreds of beams shot into the air aimed at us. Midoriya. All Might said with a laugh. Always getting into situations. Will you allow this old hero to aid you in defeating this villain? Yeah. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 said. You got us, little dude. I smile and face the man. He's growing stronger every second. I say. His quirk allows him to control metal and he's after the professor. 𝗵𝗃 All Might Sensei, we have to destroy that device on his head, it's what's aping up his power. Right. They yelled. Full cowl spread across my body and I shot forward intending on ending this. I jump out of the closest beam's way and run along it beside All Might who was carrying 𝗵𝗃. I don't need to be held, you dolt. She screamed as we ran. The three of us shoot forward only to be held back by metal wires. The man laughed. What weaklings? Did you really think you could dash, 𝗬𝗃𝗁𝗃? One of the wires that connected to his head was severed by a shadow. What? He said in surprise. 𝗬𝗃𝗁𝗃. 3 more were severed before we were shoved back. Don't. I yelled, charging full cowl up. Underestimate. Shadows grew longer around my body. Me. The wires broke and I soared forward with a punch. 𝗬𝗃𝗁𝗃. The last 2 wires were severed and the force of my punch knocked off the device. I force one for all through my pinky and aim it at him. Delaware smash. I flicked my pinky, sending a shock wave at the man, forcing him out of his metal perch onto the building once more. And by extension I fell 50 feet in the air. Izuku. I hear before I feel a soft pair of arms catch me. 𝗵𝗃-sensei. I ask, surprised. Oh, please don't let me fall. I don't think that would bode well for your health, little dude. She said with a grin. Mine. Tatsuki and Katsuki would kill me. Heh. I laugh as I'm pulled onto the metal pillar before she slides down it carrying me. Izuku. Tatsuki said, nearly tackling sensei. Why, you broke your finger? Again. Izuku POV. When everything ended I was pulled out by medics on a stretcher. Apparently all of my ribs were broken in some way. Thankfully Anna, recovery girl's assistant, was asked to go to Island as well. I never knew recovery girl had an assistant. I said to All Might and 𝗵𝗃 as they stepped onto the ambulance. A conversation caught all of our attention. Told you that he's in there for a reason. A medical worker said. Out of my way. A voice said, bringing a smile to my face. Do not make me shove that taser up your young Seraph. All Might said, walking out of the ambulance. Please don't speak to the professional like that. Tell them I can see my friend. She said, stepping into the ambulance. She sighed at 𝗵𝗃-sensei's disapproving look. Effing friend. Better. 𝗵𝗃 nodded and she sat down beside me. Hey nerd. She said. How you feeling? Hey Tatsuki. I chirp out before coughing. My everything hurts. But I guess it's my fault for getting reckless. But you know what they say. Pain's the best teacher, or some 𝗬𝗃𝗁𝗃 like that. Izuku. 𝗵𝗃-sensei said. Sorry. I apologize. It's the morphine talking. Not me. You're in that much pain with a morphine drip? Tatsuki asked. Why, yeah. I say. Apparently getting hit with a 10-ton metal beam and having your quirk nearly run wild hurts just a bit. She pats my chest and I whimper in pain. She looks away as she laughs. Don't laugh. I yell. Tish, that hurts, don't do that. You deserve it. She said. WI. I ask. For letting yourself get tricked by the blonde. Tatsuki said, a glare in her eye. I don't understand. I say. It was Mr. Shield who put the device in the glove. Why would you blame her? Because you nearly died because of it. Tatsuki said. And you nearly lost control as well. It was terrifying seeing you like that. Oh, just shut up, you two. 𝗵𝗃 said. We're heading out to the hospital now. Tatsuki, sorry, but... Yeah. Tatsuki said. I know when I'm not wanted. She stepped out of the ambulance. Tatsuki. I yell before coughing. I'm glad you're okay. Yeah, nerd. She said. Get some rest and heal so I can kick your butt some more. I will. I call out. It was a total of 3 days that I spent in the hospital before my fears came true. Where is he? A very, very, very demanding voice. Izuku Midoriya. Who the hell dash? 𝗵𝗃 said, standing up from my chair. Hide me. I yell at her. Please. If you like me at all, sensei, please hide me. Who is it? 𝗵𝗃 asked, looking at me. It's. I say as the door to my room swings open with unrelenting force. Auntie Mitsuki. I yell. What are you doing here? The ashy blonde woman looked at me as steam gushed out of her nose in rage. Idiot. She yelled, bringing a closed fist down onto my head. OOW. I yell, clutching my head. Why, you're going to give me brain damage, auntie. You'll be lucky if I only give you brain damage. She yelled. I mean, what the hell were you thinking? Fighting a villain. Nearly crushed. And Fing broke your goddamn finger. Again. I'm giving you to the count of 3 to explain why I shouldn't indulge your death wish. I'm sorry. 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗁𝗃 waited for the hero esto 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗁𝗃 for metathink. I took in a deep breath. Andy very wanil suis in danger, so I had to help the maswol lidid twantanio 𝗵𝗃𝗃. All right. Auntie yelled, slamming her fist into my head again. OOW. I yell, grabbing my head again. Senses it. Perhaps you should calm down. Oh. Her enraged face turned to one with a polite smile. You must be 𝗵𝗃-sensei. I am. 𝗵𝗃-sensei said, surprised. Thank you for saving my boys during their fight with Stain. Auntie bowed, shocking the hero. He holds All Might's ideals so high above himself that he can't help but try and help someone in trouble. It gets him in loads more than he should be in at his age. He's my student. 𝗵𝗃-sensei said. And we've both earned so much from each other. Izuku. The door slammed open and Tatsuki jumped in with her sword at the ready. Sorry it took me so long. The hid. She stopped when she saw the situation. Who the hell are you? Tatsuki, no. I yell. Shut up. Oh. Bunny said. So you're Tatsuki. She walked forward as a dark shadow covered her face. She dropped down into a bow. Please protect the idiot behind me, she said. What? Tatsuki asked. The dumbass is important to me. Auntie continued. And he has a tendency to get into situations that he shouldn't be in. She paused again. I know you used to be a villain, but I respect that you decided to change and that you're one of his few friends. The kid would die without someone on his butt. I don't. Tatsuki. Auntie. I say, looking at her. I will. Tatsuki said. The nerd has to help me with finals and everything as well. Can't let him get killed just yet. Thank you. Did you really have to embarrass me, auntie? I asked as she signed release forms. Did you have to break yourself? She asked mockingly back. Oh, do you want me to call you Izuku instead? And no, please don't. I yell, covering her mouth. Izuku. Tatsuki laughs beside me. Oh my god, that's funny. Tatsuki, no. I say softly. I'm telling the whole class. She laughed. Oh, and your reputation as one of the 3 strongest goes down the drain. Please. I ask, looking at her. Think of the crutches. I say, looking at the crutches holding me up. Oh, all right. She said. But you have to help me with my homework from now on. I always help you with your homework. I say, confused. Oh, I guess the dash. Never mind, I'll help. I say. Now both of you. Bunny said. I have to leave for my flight when we get to your guys' hotel. Thanks to someone I had to skip 2 days of work. Thank you, Auntie Mitsuki. I say. She sighed and the 3 of us started to walk. Me at a much slower pace. I walked into the classroom and stopped. Midoriya. They yelled. I looked at all of them. Sorry, I'm late, sensei. I say, looking at Izuku-sensei. It's fine, Midoriya, just get to your seat. Izuku said. I walk over to my seat and get a confused look from Tatsuki. I just slept in. I say, making her nod. As I was explaining, Izuku said, even though a few of you failed your practicals, Nizu thinks it's unfair to let you miss the experience. And since all of you passed the written exam, you pass. Yeah. The class cheered. The students who failed though will have extra classes during night. Understood? Why yeah. A few students said. Well, you guys are done for the day. Izuku said. 𝗬𝗲𝗿𝗺𝗺. I say, surprised. Yep. Izuku said. You need to rest before the training. That way we can break you without complaint. You guys can leave or something for all we care, just be on the bus in 2 days at 8 o'clock and pack for a 2-week experience. Dismissed. Yay. Toru cheered. We have got to celebrate. But how? Mina asked. Shopping. Toru said excitedly. MJ just going to rest. I say, rubbing the back of my head. No way. Mina said, grabbing my arm. Momo and I spent too much time on you at Island for nothing. You owe us shopping. Tatsuki glared at Mina. Put the nerd down, Mina. Tatsuki said. He obviously doesn't 𝗬𝗲𝗍. You're just jealous that I'm taking him with us without you. Mina said. 𝗬𝗲𝗍𝗺𝗺. Tatsuki asked loudly. Oh, so I can? Mina asked. 𝗬𝗧𝗍𝗺. Tatsuki looked away. Oh, don't get like that, Tatsuki. Mina said. You're invited as well. 𝗬𝗧𝗺, whatever. Tatsuki said, but she looked relieved. So it's agreed. To rest. All of us meet at Central Mall at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah. The class cheered. I sighed as I walked down the street. Hey nerd. I hear behind me. I smile as I turn to see Tatsuki running forward out of breath. Tatsuki. I say as she bends to her knees out of breath. Nerd. She said, standing back up. I had a question for you. Huh? I say, confused. Oh, is it about yesterday's homework? If you need help, just tell me 𝗬𝗲𝗍, and no, nothing like that. She said. Actually, it's about your family. I freeze. You don't need to tell her 𝗵𝗃𝗲. Red said. Indeed. Blue said. I don't think you should be keeping secret, partner. Orange said. Midoriya is. She paused for a second. Who's watching us? She unsheathed her sword. You behind the wall. Eep. We both here. Mina fell forward, revealing leaves and sticks eye her pink curls. 𝗬𝗃𝗍𝗺. I asked, surprised. Why were you spying on me? Sorry. She apologized. I was just going to find out our details of what we were going to do at the mall when I heard her ask that question. I was just interested. You've never told us anything solid on your family. I look around hesitantly. No one was watching, but Can you make a portal to your room, Tatsuki? I asked. My fingers dug into my backpack straps. She said, slicing through the air, creating one of her portals. I pulled the two of them through. Wow, that's disorienting. Mina said, nearly falling to the ground if it wasn't for Tatsuki holding her up. Like I was thrown out of a car. You wanted to tell us something, Izuku? Tatsuki asked. Why? I say. Not my baby. Can the two of you promise me something? I ask. What I tell you? Can you not see me as that other person? Izuku. Mina asked. Why, yeah, definitely, man. Yes, I promise. Tatsuki said. Okay. I say. Where do I start? What are you ding inko? Keeping that med brat here in this house. His quirk is useless. When I was 4. My quirk came in. I say, looking down. I'm afraid your son should drop his foolish dream. His quirk is just not suited for it. It was useless. I say. All it was a voice in my head. Everyone thought I was insane. I only had Kaken after I found that out. You have a shitty quirk, huh? No, like it matters for you. You'll find some obscene way to use the thing. 𝗬𝗲𝗍𝗺𝗺 being nice. Mina asked, skeptical. He really is a nice person. I defend. It's just Auntie Mitsuki had a hot temper. It just stuck with him. He'll always help someone who asks for it. Back to the story, nerd. Tatsuki said. Right. I said. My quirk wasn't very useful. And my dad made sure that I knew that. It's for your own good, son. Is he the one who dash? Mina asked, pointing to my chest. I blanched but nodded. Yeah. He wanted me to know that my quirk was just a cheap ripoff of his. That I would never be enough. So he would cut and burn me. Stop squirming, brat. I got used to the pain after a while. It went on for nearly 5 years. My mom and I wanted to leave. But he was just, you think you can leave? Go ahead and try. I have spies everywhere in this world. You'll never be out of my sight. I wiped the tears out of my eyes and sighed. He told us to try and escape. Said that he had a connection that could find us anywhere. And that if we left he would hunt us down. It was silent for a second. What happened? Tatsuki asked. I snapped. And she gasped. The voice in my head said it could help me escape if I let it out. I listened. Oh, you imbecile. I finally have a body. It's been too long. And no, it can't be. My dad has the same quirk that I have. So he was shocked when I snapped. Because it never happened to him before. We were in the kitchen, so it was enough time for the other me to grab a knife. I still can't remember if I actually was able to get his arm off or if it was the ceiling. His arm? Mina asked, shocked. Why, yeah. I paid for it later though. Mom was able to get the both of us out of there. I'm still not sure how I got control of my body back. But a few weeks later, Dad walks into the apartment we were hiding in nearly 100 miles away with a smug but grin on his face and a prosthetic arm. Oh no. Mina whispered. Why? He argued with Mom, saying that he was willing to forgive the two of us if she let him take me on a 2-month training trip. Apparently he figured out something with my quirk that I still haven't. He had a man with him as well. Is this the kid Sensei is so keen to meet? Yes, now don't be scared to bang him up a bit. He can take most things you dish out. He was tall. And he was able to bend darkness kind of like my shadows, but he was just so powerful. Almost as strong as Dad. My mom refused to let me go. Not my baby boy. I'm able to use him still. Just let me have him. It's not like you'll never see the 𝗵𝗃 brat again. I'm not letting you take him. If fine then. I love you, 𝗵𝗃𝗁. The other man. He slit her throat. And made me watch her I shake. Tears spilled out of my eyes. She smiled softly as she reached out her hand. Mommy. I can't remember anything that happened after that. I admit. Apparently I was erased from the world for nearly a year. Then I woke up with my aunt and best friend beside me. My dad had been arrested and thrown into Tartarus. And after another few years I'm here. Living with the best and most rude people on the face of the earth while attending the school of my dreams. And I have more friends than ever. I look at the two of them and am shocked when I see the two of them holding back tears. Hey, I didn't mean to upset the two of you. I say, waving my arms. Oh God, I'm sorry you ever had to go through that. Mina said softly, rushing me into a quick hug. I don't know how you're still able to smile after that. Why, yeah, it's hard to not think about it. I admit. But I do my best. And when I'm a hero I can find that man who killed her. I guess. Tatsuki said. I assume not many people know about this. Why, yeah. Only Auntie, Kaken, Aizawa Sensei, All Might Sensei, and Nizu. And well, now you too. So I still have people to talk to if it ever gets to be too much. And well, I'm not sure, but I think 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃 and his daughter know. Not like the two of them would tell anyone. I'm sure they want after what we did for them. Tatsuki said. Damn it, now you reminded me that 𝗵𝗃𝗃 totally saved our buttes there. Heh. I chuckle, thankful for the change of subject. I'm telling you, he's actually a nice person. Maybe to you Midobro, but to the rest of the class. Mina asked. The only ones he likes are Kirishima and Ochako because he was able to fight the two of them in the sports festival. He knows they're just as strong as he is. He actually told me that he's glad he got put in a class filled with students as strong as he is. I say, remembering that conversation. He doesn't admit it, but he thinks that all of us are as strong as him. Maybe even stronger. Okay, let's stop talking about this before I puke. Mina said, pretending to GG. Knock knock. Tat, you in there? A voice who I assumed was Klein said. Don't call me that. Tatsuki screamed, kicking the door open into his face. Tatsu. A young voice screamed before Haka tackled her with a hug. Haka. She seemed surprised. Why aren't you at your appointment? 𝗵𝗃𝗃 said. They had to cancel all unnecessary appointments because of a villain attack. Hey little green. Hi Klein. I say. And He looked at Mina. Pinky. Hey. Mina yelled. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗁𝗃. Klein said. Didn't think you would get 2 girls. WHAT? I say, heat filling my cheeks. And no, it's not like that. I swear. Good. He said, placing a hand onto my shoulder. It, as unlikely as it is, would be very bad for you to date my niece. Understand? Instead of an answer, he was met with a foot between his legs. Damn it, Klein. Tatsuki yelled. 1. You've done the same thing every single time he's visited. 2. I can date whoever the hell I want. But tat. He whimpered on the ground. I'm keeping you safe. Yeah. Tatsuki said. Anyway, Haka, go grab something to snack on. I just got here a bit ago, so I haven't made anything for dinner. And I guess I'm cooking for 5 tonight. I guess that's my fault. I say, rubbing the back of my neck sheepishly. You think? Tatsuki asked, annoyed. Anyway, what do you want to eat? I took a second to think. Not 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗁𝗃. Oh. I sulked for a second. How about spaghetti? Mina asked. Actually, that sounds good. I say. Spaghetti it is then. Tatsuki said, walking into the kitchen. And it shouldn't take too long. Bye, Tatsuki. Mina waved as she started to walk through the portal. Bye, Midobro. She winked at me before being kicked into the portal by Tatsuki. A second later, Mina's head poked back through. That actually kind of hurt, tat. Tatsuki screamed in rage, barely missing a kick at Mina as she pulled her head back through with a laugh. Tatsuki closed the portal before the pink-haired woman could poke her head through again. I really wish I could hate that girl. She said. Which train station do you get off at again? Western 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗃 Station. I say. Right. She said, slicing her sword through the air again. A portal sprouted out of thin air. By Tatsuki. I say. Izuku. She said, looking at me. It's. She sighed. Never mind. She pushed me gently through the portal. See you, nerd. You're from you, right? Izuku said. Yeah, you're the one who broke himself after tossing the sword you had to the side. He seemed well informed. Midoriya, right? Izuku Midoriya. Wow. The stranger said. To think someone like you went against Stain and lost control of himself. Man, you were like a fing animal. I wonder. He quickly got a grip around Izuku's neck. Could I bring that animal out in a place like this? What? It's been a while, Midoriya. Man, we haven't met since the USJ. And no way. Izuku said, turning to see the man's face. Shigaraki. 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗃. Shigaraki said. Alert the heroes and you'll die. Shadows wove their way around Izuku's neck, keeping the finger off of him before traveling up the man and wrapping around his own throat. Wow. The man said, seemingly impressed. I'm not so sure about you, kid. I don't know whether to hate you because of your father or love you because of how awesome and reckless you are. I've got to say, though, improvement. But just think for a second. How fast do you think you can break my neck? 'Cause I can promise I can break yours faster. And what about poor sweet auntie? Izuku froze. Leave her out of this. He said, the shadows grinding deeper into Shigaraki's throat. Wow, your shadow's getting a bit tight. Shigaraki said. I wonder how you'll turn out. Will you become like your pa? He paused for a second, gaining Izuku's attention. His glare returned. Or will you turn out like poor mommy? Oi, nerd. Tatsuki called out, stepping closer to them. Is this your FR-? She stopped. Tatsuki, run away. Izuku commanded. Shigaraki. She yelled, running forward. He said, pulling Izuku closer to him. Don't make the same mistake again. What is all for one after Shigaraki? Izuku asked with a glare. Well, Sensei is interested in you. I admit I am as well, but who said we're the only ones after you? Izuku POV. All of you line up. Aizawa said. Sit with your midterm finals partner. Don't make a ruckus. If even one of you wake me up, I will make this the most horrible 2 weeks of your life. Geez, what crawled under your bed last night? Tatsuki asked. Tatsuki. Aizawa growled. 40 laps when we get back. 𝗬𝗲𝗿𝗺𝗺. She asked, surprised. Glad we've come to an agreement. I snorted and looked away only to be smacked with the sword. Damn it. She yelled. Don't laugh at me, you dim nerd. Geez, she's acting a lot like Katsuki. Kaminari mumbled. I don't act like that, damn it. Kaken yelled. Sorry. I mumble out, rubbing my head. That really hurt. Get into the bus, please. Aizawa sighed, rubbing his temple. After we all piled into the bus, it started to go. We never realized how bad of a decision getting onto that bus was. Midoriya. Ashui said. Back during our finals, why were you so tired? 𝗧𝗵𝗃. I asked, surprised. Yeah. You said something about your quirk being exhausted and now suddenly you can manipulate shadows. Kaminari said. Actually, why does that sound familiar? Worthless. I don't know. I say loudly. And you suddenly going psycho in the alleyway. He said. Are you keeping secrets from us? Guys, stop hassling Midobro. Kirishima said. It's probably just a coincidence. Why, yes, that's it. I say loudly before getting elbowed in the ribs by Tatsuki. Go to sleep. She said. What, Ash? Was all I was able to say before her hand landed on my face. Suddenly I got extremely tired, my eyes drooped shut. Good night. I whispered as I felt all of my energy be drained from my body. Night, nerd. Was the last thing I heard. Third POV. I really should have that through. Tatsuki said as Izuku's head fell onto her shoulder. Okay, so spill the beans. Toru said from behind her. Are you and Izuku a thing? Wait, what? Chaco asked. The two of them are dating. Kaminari asked. They're cute together, ribbit. Ashui said. What? Tatsuki asked, surprised. You're right. Kirishima said. It's like my romance novels. Momo said, holding her hands together. It's not like that. Tatsuki said, trying to diffuse everything. So Izuku doesn't go to your house every day after school? Mina asked. Mina. Tatsuki yelled. Not helping. All of her yelling and caused Izuku's body to fall to the side, landing on her lap. Tatsuki yelled in surprise. All of the girls cheered. What a player. Mineta yelled before getting slapped. Enough. Tatsuki screamed, enraged. Everyone flinched backwards, including Katsuki. Tatsuki. Aizawa said. That's 40 more laps for you. She yelled again. The bus approached a small bend on the lane where 3 people were waiting. The bus stopped and all of the students were ushered. God damn it, Izuku. Tatsuki said, shaking him awake. 𝗬𝗲𝗺𝗺. He asked, opening his eyes tiredly. We're supposed to get out of the bus. She said. Oh. He said, standing up and rubbing his eyes. The two of them got out of the bus and he looked around confused. This isn't camp. He said. Nope. One of the ladies waiting for them said. Camp's about 10 miles that way. She said, pointing at the forest. Oh. Izuku mumbled, wiping his eyes. Aizawa-sensei, can I go back to my nap? He sighed and looked at Izuku. Oh my god, he created another one. The red-clothed one said. Aizawa sighed again. So who's the lucky gal eraser? He's. What? Izuku asked, confused. Who's your mom, kid? The blue one asked. My mom's name is 𝗵𝗃𝗃 Midoriya. Why were they asking him that? Oh, Aizawa, you sly dog. The red one said. He's not my kid. Aizawa said plainly. 𝗬𝗲𝗺𝗺𝗺. The blue one asked. Mandalay. The green girl said. Don't just assume things. Though he seems to have taken a card or two from you, Aizawa. He's tired because the girl beside him ragdoll. Aizawa explained. She can manipulate reality and made him tired for the ride so he would stop mumbling. The green-haired boy said. You put me to sleep. Yep. Tatsuki said, blowing a strand of hair away from her face. You were being stupid. Sorry. He apologized. Well, Ragdoll said. This is all of your class, right? Izuku nodded. Yep. He said. Now that Midoriya is out here. Good. 𝗵𝗃𝗄𝗃 said. You see the forest kids? She said, and they all nodded. About 10 miles that direction is our camp. It's fairly large, so you shouldn't miss it. Miss it how? Todoroki asked cautiously, taking a step towards the bus. Oh, nothing much. She said. Pixie bomb now. What? Izuku asked, surprised. Oh? Tatsuki yelled, grabbing the green-headed boy and jumping out of the way. Pillars of earth shot up, shooting most of the students. Wow, eraser. Ragdoll said, looking at the two of them. 2 of them are still here. Impressive. They are the top 2 in their grade. Izuku remarked. Tatsuki being first. What? She asked, surprised. First in my grade. Yep. He said casually. Huh. She said, shrugging her shoulders. News to me. Wow. Izuku said, finally awake. Congratulations, Tatsuki. Yeah. Well, I guess the 2 of them pass. Ragdoll asked. I don't think we'll be able to force them the mile off of the cliff. Not necessarily. Izuku said, activating his quirk and quickly wrapping the 2 of them in his binding scarf. Go be useful, problem children. And tell them they have 2 hours or they won't get dinner. Wait. Izuku begged. Izuku-sensei. I know you're getting sick of Emi getting into dangerous situations, but isn't this a bit much? You're probably right. He said, blinking his eyes, deactivating his quirk. Yes, we can dash, but I don't care. He twitched his fingers and the 2 of them were sent flying into the forest. Wasn't that a bit mean, Eraser? Ragdoll asked. Did you check for his weaknesses? He asked her. She blanched. Why, you're not going to like it. It might require your full attention just for him. That girl, though. It was an undependable wall. So you couldn't find any? He asked. No, she wouldn't let me. Ragdoll answered. Like a mental block. And a big one to not let me through. Have Tiger improve the distance without her weapon. What's problem child's weakness? She looked down. I don't feel like I have a right to say, but... She looked at the falling green boy. Izuku sighed. So you figured it out. He looks a lot like him if you look hard enough. What ya talking about? 𝗵𝗃𝗄𝗃 asked. None of your business. Izuku said, wrapping her in cloth. Weakness. He's claustrophobic, scared of fire and sharp objects. He hates hurting people, and... he's scared of what might happen if he loses control again. Izuku froze. Damn it. He mumbled. I knew I should have had a conversation with him about that. You should have. She agreed. Well, what's done is done, Eraser. But you could still talk about it. Yeah. He said. I don't need another lecture from Nizu. The students finally made it to the camp in 3.5 hours. Oh God. 𝗵𝗃𝗄𝗃 said. I can't go anymore. Wow. 𝗵𝗃𝗄𝗃 said. What an outstanding time. Usually it takes students 5 hours their first time running it. So you did give us an unrealistic time limit. Izuku said. That makes me feel a little better. Good for all of you. Pixie Bomb yelled. In celebration, we've made all of you a feast. Yeah. Kaminari and 𝗵𝗃𝗄𝗃 yelled. Dig in. They said, showing off the large banquet of food. All right. The class cheered. They all piled up at the table save for one. Whose child is that? Izuku asked 𝗵𝗃𝗄𝗃, pointing at the boy who had a hat that had 2 horns. Oh, that's 𝗂𝗃. 𝗵𝗃𝗄𝗃 said. And he's my nephew. Oh. Izuku said, walking to the boy. Hey, 𝗂𝗃. He held out his hand. I'm Izuku. Izuku Midoriya, it's nice to meet you. 𝗂𝗃 said, pulling his hand away. Before swiftly trying to punch Izuku in the ball. Keyword trying. Shadows wrapped around his arm and carefully held it back. You missed my hand, little bud. Izuku said. The shadows pulled 𝗂𝗃's hand over to his. Whoa. 𝗂𝗃 said, watching the shadows do an elegant dance over his arm. Pretty. I know, right? Izuku said. I still think they're amazing. Wanna see something cool? Koda hesitated before nodding. You wanna try it, Red? Let's do it. Shadows covered his face, turning his face black and the veins in his eye as well. Here we go, he said, setting his hand onto the ground. Shadows sprouted out of the ground before weaving themselves together upwards before taking shape of a very large tree. The tree grew and grew until it was as tall as any of the trees in the forest. Whoa! Koda yelled out as he looked at the tree. Get ready for the good part, Izuku said. He released his hold on the shadows. The tree started to wisp away, slowly breaking apart in an appealing shower of shadows. That's amazing, Midoriya. Turning around, Izuku saw the entirety of his class and the others staring at him. He said, rubbing the back of his neck. It's just something I was taught. Fairly simple. And he's being modest. Momo said. Leave the DMN nerd be. Katsuki yelled. Get in here, Deku. Try these 𝗵𝗃𝗃. All right, Kaken. Izuku yelled, running over to the table beside Katsuki and piling his plate with a large variety of foods. Wow! Momo said, looking at the still dissipating tree. It's hard to see why he acts so timid when he has such an amazing power. I agree, Todoroki said. It's as if he's being repressed for something. Well, maybe it's because he doesn't talk to girls that well. Mina suggested, wiggling her eyebrows. Mina, Momo warned. We're not going to tease him. Oh, come on, Mina said. Wouldn't it be funny to watch him squirm? This is a bad idea. You're actually going to. Terest. Oh, let me help. Can we not mess with the strongest student here? Jiro asked. Oh, come on, Jiro. Mina said. You're jealous, aren't you? Jiro said. Well, let's go. Mina said, giggling. The four of them walked over to Izuku and Katsuki, who were chowing down. Oh, Izuku, Toru said. Ha! Izuku looked to them. Hi, Hagakure, Yaoyorozu, Jiro, Ishido. Hey, Izu, Mina said, setting her hand on his shoulder. How is the food? Ha! Izuku looked at her like she grew another head before shrugging. It's really good. I especially enjoy the katsudon that they made. Oh, Terest. Would you like dessert after? Katsuki choked into his hand as he stared at the two of them. Izuku looked over the table. I don't think they would serve too many sweets on a training trip. He stopped for a second. I'm on a diet as well. I can't really gorge myself without working it off. Sweets are especially hard, but I suppose in regulation they couldn't hurt. I know a way you could work it off, Mina said, hugging him from behind. How? Izuku asked. I think weight swimming would be the best option actually. Forced to heat your body up and keep yourself afloat. Is he really this clueless? All of the girls thought to themselves. You girls are a bunch of idiots. Katsuki said. 3, 2, 1. Oh! Izuku yelled, slamming his fist into his palm. How about we all do a late-night workout? What? Mina asked, confused, taking a step back. Katsuki snorted. Yeah. Izuku yelled. Ida. Yes, Midoriya. Call everyone here. He sounded way too excited for the girls. May I ask why? He asked. We're going to do a late-night workout, Izuku said with a smile. Brilliant idea, Midoriya, Ida said before running out looking for the students. What have I done? Mina asked, falling to her knees. After nearly 2 minutes, all of the students were gathered up and informed of what they were going to be doing. Okay, Izuku said, excited. The first thing we're going to do is easy. Let's take a light jog around the practice area twice. Oh, thank God, Mina said. Everyone started their jogs. Izuku, Katsuki, Tatsuki, and Ida were in front of the entire pack. The four of them did the 2 laps in less than 3 minutes, completely blowing all of them out of the park. While they were waiting for the others, the 4 of them did extra stretches. And none of them could match Izuku in this category. Bending backwards into a bridge, Izuku slowly closed the gap between his hands and legs, and then started to make them go past each other by nearly a foot. Holy SHT nerd. Tatsuki said, seeing the now balled-up boy. "I'm a little rusty," Izuku admitted. He kicked his legs up over his head and flipped to his feet. "I used to be able to get my shoulders to touch my heels." Is he being serious?" Tatsuki asked Katsuki, who nodded. He said, "Never didn't freak us out." Izuku twisted himself to the side. "Anyway, any suggestions for the next workout, Kaken? Let's put them through the gauntlet." Katsuki said with a feral grin. The gauntlet?" Ida asked. It was an experiment of mine," Izuku said. "It became Kaken and I's training for you. You do 50 pull-ups, then drop and do 20 push-ups, then 40 burpees. After that you did a 4-mile run before swimming a mile. Rest for an hour to let your muscles relax and then go through your day." "Intriguing," Ida said. "But that seems 𝗳𝗄𝗃. Oh, you aren't allowed to use your quirks," Izuku explained. "That would make it way too easy." "Are you sure they can do that?" Tatsuki asked. "I mean, for you it's probably child's play 'cause you're 𝗵𝗃𝗃 but how would you know he's ripped, Tatsuki?" Katsuki asked, amused. "Have you not seen him in his costume?" she asked. "His 𝗵 shoulders look like they can break through a 𝗵 fridge full of bricks." I don't know about that," Izuku said, blushing at the praise. "I'm sure anyone could do this." "Here," Tatsuki said, walking towards the greenite. "Turn around." "You, Izuku asked. "Just do it, nerd," Tatsuki said. Izuku slowly turned around. She placed her hand on his back. "Voila," she said, dramatically activating her quirk. His shirt disappeared, revealing his overly ripped body. But also his scars. "Oh my dash," Ida said before getting interrupted. "Tatsuki," Izuku said harshly. "Give it back." "𝗳𝗄𝗃𝗃," she said, stepping back. "Oh my god, Izuku is that what you to dash?" "Yes," he snapped. Can you please give me my shirt back?" Sorry," she said, walking over to him and willing his shirt back into existence. I'll just go." She created a portal and walked through it. "Sht Tatsuki," Izuku said, running through the portal as well just before it shut. "Katsuki, those scars," Ida said. He looked away. "Before you assume anything, only one of those scars are my fault. And the others are none of your business. 4 eyes. Hey. All of the students called. "Let's put them through hell before they get back." Katsuki said. "Where are the other 2? Mina asked. "They're racing 8 miles. Katsuki lied, simply amazing Ida. "He gave me a list of what to do to kill you all. Now then." Izuku looked at the place in surprise. It was a meadow with a relaxing feeling that for some reason also held a lot of dread. "What are you doing here?" Tatsuki asked as she looked at the small stream in front of her. Izuku walked forward. "I'm sorry," he said. Shut up," Tatsuki yelled. I don't even understand." She stood up and faced him. "What the hell is wrong with you?" What?" he asked, surprised. "Are you being nice?" she asked. "Are you 𝗵𝗃𝗃 dead, or are you just so god-mad suicidal you'll try and become my friend?" "I murdered people, Izuku. Never coming back. People will spit on my grave for how many illegal things I've done." Tatsuki Shut up," she screamed. "You walk on fine and dandy like no one's ever hurt you. How do you do that? No one knows you're hurt. And you can't tell them you are. Because they just would try and understand and hurt you more. And you're so 𝗵 smart. Is it you? Is it your quirk? Which quirk? You seem to have 50. Tatsuki, calm down. Don't tell me to calm down," she screamed, tears falling down her face. Izuku took a step forward before he was punched in the face. He definitely saw it coming, she knew he did. But she didn't care. Every time she hit him it was like 10 pounds was lifted from her shoulders. She still felt like a ton. Why? She punched him in the chest. "You god-mad but. You're stupid. You're weak. You're pathetic." She kept punching him. But each hit was getting weaker. Can't you leave me alone? It was pathetic watching her like this. "I want to be strong like you." What? Izuku thought in shock. I'm not strong, she said, sitting back at the stream side. I'm a coward. I hide behind my quirk. I killed my parents. I'm cursed. I've hurt so many people. You're not a curse, Izuku said, hugging her from behind, startling her. What are you? Izuku set his forehead. Not a curse. You're like a blessing. Izuku. She was confused. You helped me out of a really tough spot, he said. To put it frank, didn't exactly like myself back before I met you. I was just wasting space in my aunt's house. I was, and still am, missing a part of my life. I was considering ending it. Tears ran down his face as she gasped. It was an unbearable weight on my chest. He continued. Not only did no one believe in me, they shot me down constantly. I wasn't lying when I said I only had 𝗂𝗂𝗃. Jesus Izuku. She said. Those things you said? Izuku said. You were telling that to yourself, right? Teach. She looked away. I thought so. Izuku said. I don't think what you said was true. I think that you're the strongest person in you, including all might. You mean a lot to me. I hurts when I hear you berate yourself like that. I think of you as more than a friend. We've literally have held each other's lives in our hands multiple times. Damn it, nerd, Tatsuki said, turning and hugging him back. Why are you so stupid? I'm sorry, Izuku said with a laugh. Just shut up, Tatsuki said. I didn't know you were hurt so bad. I mean, I heard your story, but I never thought it would be that bad. I'm sorry for being stupid and doing that without asking your permission. It's fine, Tatsuki, Izuku said. You want to know why? Why, nerd? She asked, looking him in the eyes. Because I am here, he said. Her eyes grew glossy and the two of them grew closer. Hey, nerd, she asked. Why, yeah. What did the green boy say after his first kiss? 𝗬𝗲𝗍, she placed her lips on his, stopping his sentence from forming. It was like lightning exploded through their body. The two of them pulled the other closer as they kissed. Everything the two felt was put into that one kiss. Their pain, their hatred, their sadness, their serenity, and their love. The two of them separated after a minute to catch their breath. Izuku looked at her. Can we? He couldn't even finish the sentence before he was pulled in again. Good answer, Tatsuki said, setting her lips on his again.